We do not need more Primaris Lieutenants. We will be fine without additional Primaris Lieutenants. We can cope. Hello, everyone. So, how are we doing? Good, good. I did promise that some of the first 5 people to turn up could have a free membership, so here's a free membership thing. There we are. So that means that people who have the membership will get to use the emotes, they'll get their names in the end credits of videos for like the next month. So there you go. All the people on screen have a free membership. Oh, there's so much. We should be seeing a lot today. Like a lot. In theory, it's a lot. The last few live streams have been like, hey, you know how we sell models? We're gonna keep doing that. I'm like, wow, really? No way. This games company is gonna keep selling models? That is unprecedented. Totally unprecedented. Okay. Right. I have got everything ready. That all looks ready. They're now just doing their prep thing on the Twitch to be like, oh, soon things will be happening. So that's good. For the last, I think, 2, maybe 3 live streams, we got, oh, there'll be something chaos. Oh, there'll be tanks. Oh, big names will be coming. They were sort of just talking without telling us anything has been the theme of the last few live streams that they've done. Which isn't great. Now, quite a lot of the Twitch, which I'll be showing off, will be muted because they've started using lots of copyrighted music in their live streams, which is not ideal for me. So if you want to throw money at me directly, there's Ko-fi linked in the description, which makes your words pop up from the bottom with the blue bar, and it's like, hey, there's your words. And then I get the money, because I'm probably not going to be getting any ad revenue from this, because it immediately gets like flagged as using copyrighted music, and then it's like, yeah, all the money goes to the copyrighted music holder person. I'm expecting quite a lot to be shown off. I know there'll be Age of Sigmar stuff and Old World stuff, which we'll watch, because that could be interesting, especially for kit bashing purposes. That's always an option. Where am I? There I am. That's me, yeah. Astra Militarma Eldar Codex at the same time. Quite possibly. That is entirely possible. I don't know if we'll see any combat patrols, but I would expect or hope that some new models that they're showing off for Eldar would appear in the new combat patrol. Whatever they do with that. Guard Eldari versus box. That would be definitely interesting. I think it's a possibility. They haven't done any versus boxes this edition, have they? There's just been Leviathan at the start. And is that it? Outside of Kill Team? Because this has been a very Kill Team focused, like, edition. Anything that's new has either been a single model, which is a character, or it's a Kill Team box. So that's where we've got, like, Space Marine Scouts, Eldar Striking Scorpions, the Hearthkin Jaegers. Yeah, just Leviathan. So maybe they're not doing versus boxes anymore, which is a shame because they were really good if you collected both of those armies or you knew someone who collected the other army. So I'm expecting to see some Emperor's Children thing because they are confirmed for 2025. Potentially Grey Knights also confirmed for 2025. Just going to be, you know, not in like the first couple of months because we know it's Imperial Guard Codex, Eldari Codex, Imperial Knights Codex. I don't know if there's going to be any new models for the Imperial Knights, but they could do another, like, little dude character. What they really want is infantry, but when it comes to infantry, they will just use Imperial agents. And that'll be it. Maybe we'll see one new model for the Emperor's Children. I mean, ideally Fulgrim. People say they're going to riot if they don't see Fulgrim. But what they did for the World Eaters was they showed off a single Khorne Berserker and were like, yeah, this is representative of what you're going to get as a faction. And then it was like, yep, there sure are some Khorne Berserkers and slightly bigger possessed Khorne Berserkers, and that's really about it. Cultists that aren't Khorne Berserkers but want to be Khorne Berserkers, they are also there. I want them to tease Fulgrim longer. I don't know. I don't know if we can keep edging that out. Hivestorm was also kill team? Yeah. Yeah, but as a versus box, yeah. We don't need more lieutenants. There's enough lieutenants. Updated Lucius model, I could see that happening. So they've meant to be saying, oh yes, 2025 is going to be very chaos focused and have big names. Lucius the Eternal is a pretty big name. Fulgrim is an even bigger name, so I would hope for the Fulgrim. Is it smart money to bet on Chaos getting split in 40k like they're split in Age of Sigmar? I think they will be, and at that point I think Be'lakor will be moved into the Chaos Space Marine Codex. They've already had their codex, but it'll be like, yeah, okay, he's legend or legends for like all of the different factions in the different gods, different god books. That is how they've done Nagash for the different Age of Sigmar undead factions. The vampires can have him, the ghosts can have him, the skeletons can have him. That's all the undead factions. And the ghouls can have him as well. What else were we expecting? Oh, for Krieg and Imperial Guard, probably a big box of Krieg, much like they did a big box of Cadens, the time that the Cadens were re-released in their newer plastic. So we could see that. I would love to see more artillery stuff, so it isn't just a basilisk. Like, the Griffin Mortar could come back. I have the mortar part from a Chimera, I just don't have the Griffin part. I mean the Chimera part. I have the Griffin Mortar, I don't have the Chimera that makes it a Griffin Mortar chassis thing. So seeing a Griffin Mortar come back, that could work. For the Eldari, they are so very much teasing aspect warriors that will be swooping in at some point. We were all expecting like a Swooping Hawks kill team. They could just do Swooping Hawks by themselves. Also, maybe Warp Spiders can be updated since they're now 35 years old. I'm pretty sure Warp Spiders came out in 1989. Let me just check. Warp Spiders release date. Oh, 94? Okay, that's it. They're 30, not 35. Oh, for a moment then I thought they were old. 1994, yeah. Will they announce any other codexes? I mean, what I'd really like to see is another 1 year codex release thing, but I don't think they'll bother doing that. It's not necessarily something that went well for them last time, where it was like, okay, we know the codexes. Are the codexes going to come out? How good are the codexes going to be? Do we stop doing things? Yeah. We've already seen Fuegan, who is leaked already, which shouldn't be leaked early, so that would suggest some new fire dragons alongside, and that's what I went with in the thumbnail, as probably what we get. Yeah, the Viper is relatively old as well. That might want to redo. Warp Spider's going to Legends. No, don't be silly. But Phoenix Lords, I can see more Phoenix Lords in plastic. Not necessarily all the Phoenix Lords, because they tend to do it a bit at a time. But more Phoenix Lords, that could happen. Definitely something that could happen. How are we doing on the premieres in 5 minutes? Okay. Good. Let's make sure I've got like a backup version of it. Oh, right, and in that trailer they're showing off like, hey, yeah, on the 10th of December there's going to be a Amazon, Netflix, Warhammer, Amazon Prime. Yeah. Amazon Prime little thing, which might just be a one-off. Who's to say? Yeah, Fergan was already showing off, but he wasn't meant to be. He was leaked, and then Games Workshop was like, okay, you can actually see him because he's already leaked. They did the same thing with Angron. He got leaked, they showed him off, and then they had the live stream event, and it was like, yeah, hey, here we go. This is him and other Khorne Berserkery stuff. What does a membership do? A membership means that a month from now you can pay me a very small amount of money, you get lots of emotes, you get other things. You get your name in the end credits depending on the membership level you're at. And I maybe should do more things for members, like, hey, you get a video early, as an idea. But I can't do that to you if you're not a member. But that's a thought. Ynnari's a cool idea. Ynnari is something they are probably just going to leave for a while until they've sorted out the main stuff of the Eldar Aspect Warriors. And then they'll do them. For Imperial Knights, yeah, we could have a new model or a new pilot model, new character that you can build. Some combination of arms and weapons we haven't seen before, like, oh, it's got a Gatling cannon and a chainsword instead of the power fist. Oh, it's a unique person that you can build now. It's a possibility. Or something that was Forge World now becomes mainstream, like the Knight Porphyrion. That could become just, hey, it's now a plastic kit that anyone can get without being an expert kit. They could do that. Grey Knights are probably in line for a range refresh. Hopefully it doesn't look too Primaris. And it is like, yeah, they've stuck with Firstborn because so far all of them have been Firstborn. Because they haven't got a lot as a range. They have the basic Marine kit, which has enough bits to make like 4 different kinds of guys. Basic troops, fast attack version with jump packs, an assault version with lots of weapons, and a big cannon version with lots of shooty weapons. Oh, there's also the version that can be like, yeah, we cast psychic powers as a shooting attack rather than just being regular guys. I think it's different, like 4 different units you can make from that one box. And the Terminator kit, which makes 2 different kinds of units, and their Dread Knight is their exclusive thing. So there's not a lot there that needs to be redone. But Eldar, I can see Eldar being redone. I mean, seeing Imperial Knights probably won't get a combat patrol. I don't expect them to get a combat patrol. I don't think there'll be a lieutenant in Centurion armor Zerota. I think they'll just move the Centurions off to Legends as soon as they possibly can. Tech Marine, but he's a lieutenant. We're not expecting anything Sisters or Genestealer Cult. Not expecting anything Deathwatch either. It's just going to be, yeah, those 3 factions get updated rules in December. We don't know what the rules will be. They're probably not going to be great for us. But nothing super special for us in particular. Although if you think of Brood Brothers, if the Krieg stuff is good, that'll be great for the Brood Brothers Genestealer Cult as well. Yeah, new Brood Brothers. Exactly. Today, I've got the sound on. Oh, you can't hear this. Yeah, you can hear the tea being put down. I am on Tetley Zone tea. It's a perfectly decent tea. I'm trying to cut down the amount of tea I have, though. I just can't. I don't want to. I should, because caffeine isn't great. It's a lot of caffeine. Grey Knight models are very nice. They're easy to paint. They don't have too many details. They're good. They have a range of combat weapons, so you can have a stick. You can have 2 swords. They've all just been rounded out into, like, general stabbiness stuff. It's like a weapon. Thank you, Compa-Doom. I appreciate it. Homie. As a thing I always say. The homies. Yes, Krieg should be massive. I know that Katachan are the ones that need the most refreshing, but with Forge World basically being phased out slowly, well, as slowly as they are phasing it out. Are we live? Not yet. Still not yet? Nope, still not yet. I will put that on stream. Yeah, with Forge World being phased out, then the Krieg stuff that was all in Forge World, they've got to pick which bits of it come to 40k. So we might see... Oh, are we starting now? We're starting now. Okay.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the World Championship online preview. My name's Nick. This is Alex. Alex, we've got a whole bunch of stuff to show people today.
We
right?
have stuff. Okay.
Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer the Age of Sigmar, Warhammer the Horus Heresy.
Oh, there's tanks. Tanks for Horus Heresy.
It's going to be stuff you're expecting, stuff you're not.
Yeah, we're
expecting.
expecting
It's really
stuff.
exciting. We're here, of course, this weekend because the World Championships are taking place in Atlanta right now as we speak, as well as the Grand Narrative there as well. Grand Narrative is taking place at Warhammer World here too, and
Yes, it is.
you're there this weekend.
I am. I'm somehow here and there.
Yeah, we can
You'll be,
definitely tell that this is, you know, pre-recorded.
Which is, it's great. I can't wait to see that costume. But there we go. Welcome to all of your.
Hello, Dragon of Dragons.
But, without any further ado, it's time to look at our first preview.
Okay.
This has been waited for and looked forward to for a long time.
They all have, in theory. And what is it going to be? Something Age of Sigmar? That looks Age of Sigmar? Or is it Old World? It's Warhammer 40,000. It's a horse, so Krieg? Krieg. Yeah, there's a thud gun. Or quad gun. Krieg Cavalry. Astra Militarum set. I like it. Artillery team, generic one. We already have one. Combat Engineers, so yeah. They're more shooty. Death Riders, so they're going to be very much like the riders we already had. But with the weird horses. Oh look, Lord Marshal Dria's got a set. A model just for him. So, there's a big thing. Command Squad, their own version of the Command Squad, very nice. Heavy Weapons team with twin heavy stubbers. Alright.
The Death Korps of Krieg are back.
They're here. They're finally here. We've teased and hinted about these guys for a long time, and it's finally time to unleash a Death Korps of Krieg into the world. And that army set looks really cool as well, doesn't it? They are a much.
It does look nice.
Beloved regiment, aren't they?
Yeah, we've had them in the kill team box.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it looks like they're going to keep the kill team set that they already have as like the Death Korps infantry, because all the models there are like the engineers, the cavalry.
Alex, first of all,
the subtitle, so you can still see it. It's just not covering me. Yeah, so it's standard stuff for Cadens. We have the artillery. It's nice to see that you got the twin heavy stubbers, which is like a heavy weapons team that was only for them. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. There's a lot of models that they could... Well, I don't think there's any of the models that they really can do. They've got the Command Squad. You've got your engineers. That's some new artwork. That's pretty good artwork.
Pump out all of these fantastic soldiers.
that's cool. It seems to me like it's a bit of a war of attrition.
They've gone much more the French-style look for World War One. Not just with the helmets, but also the bluish greatcoats. Whereas I'm sure they used to be much more black, and they had the Pickelhaube style helmet. So they've gone from German World War One to French World War One. They've switched the trenches.
In service of the Emperor in order to gain redemption for their ancestors.
Yeah, the horses die easily in war, but these are extra tough ones, and they're not really horses. And it's more like, it's meant to be cool. It's silly cool.
And there's all of that to be expected inside the
I see that they're showing off still the old Cadens.
Some of the new miniatures
okay.
seen in that new army set. And up first,
I like that they're taking their time with it, but that does suggest that unless this is a very long preview, we're only going to see this for like 40k.
Than your average Krieg soldier. They're given a little bit more freedom in order to operate. It's from their ranks that most of the officer corps are eventually taken. Now you'll notice here the Krieg steeds they're on look very much like horses.
Yeah, it's the Kriegi horses.
They're a bit weird, aren't they?
I did see the Wetter Workshop Celestine. It looks very expensive, but it looks very expensive for what it is. It's very nice if you want a model, but it's an expensive model.
Therefore, we've got a mount, and it's got claws so that it can get over any kind of rubble.
So I don't know if those were really needed as a unit when we already have the Rough Riders,
really pack a
But they
punch.
look a
How
bit
do they
different
fight?
and they're
Well, the Tillmen are
interesting.
actually quite a flexible unit, quite a utility unit. So the Rough Riders with Tiller we've seen before are just there to punch into a unit as hard as they possibly can.
Okay.
These guys have quite a bit more flexibility. In
The Attilan Rough Riders are charging. I mean, the Attilan Rough Riders also have las carbines, if I remember correctly.
Which lets them move
Attilan Rough Riders.
their lines, and they can get bogged down into combat. Every single one of them carries
For
a
Rough
power saber, which
Riders.
is really cool.
Attilan
They
Rough
therefore
Riders.
protracted combat, so you can charge them in and lead them against.
Yeah,
the
they've got
team
las
rather than
guns,
just
so
try and destroy in one hit, which
they
is nice.
can be just
So lots of
rapidly
strong
moving
and,
infantry,
speed combat
cavalry,
attacks,
mounted
excellent
infantry.
models. And what's nice
Cavaliers.
is the
They can
steed's
do a
claws.
cavalier roll.
Nice rules. It's got AP1 on the claws for the steed.
AP1 claws on the steed is a bit unnecessary. You could have just increased the strength by 1. But sure. But now you have 2 units that are doing fundamentally the same role. And I don't think this was needed. Much as they are nice, they could have just kept them as alternate sculpt.
The next model, now big guns never tire in 40k, and it's certainly
Indeed.
true in the Krieg forces. These
So
are
the artillery.
teams,
So we got the quad gun.
huge
I
guns,
like that.
even bigger than the field
So this is
ordnance
probably
we've
going to
seen
see
before.
several things that were in Legends coming out of Legends and going
Specialised
into the main
in
codex.
siege
So you got the quad gun, and I think it's the mortar, regular mortar. I'm hoping that these are like
smash apart the wall.
2 separate units. So the quad gun is 1 unit, the heavy mortar is another unit, and you don't need to have them as a pair like we have with the pre-existing artillery. Yeah, these are heavy mortars.
Quad launchers are there for massed infantry. The multiple rocket launcher takes out tough infantry because it's anti-infantry 3+.
Okay.
And my favorite, this huge siege cannon.
Okay,
which
so
is
there's more than
this
just 2
devastating
options.
explosive
That's
charge.
nice.
Damage 3 shots. Now, these are very accurate, but when they hit, they hit
This is
hard,
all that's been
which is
released
great.
so
You
far.
must have these miniatures at the back of the battlefield. And of course, that model is huge. It's on a 130 mil.
130 millimeter base is a little bit big, maybe.
A little bit of equipment and stuff
Maybe.
like that as well. It's a really nice little modeling project.
I mean, 100 millimeters are the other ones. So I hope it is just one piece by itself.
The Krieg combat engineers, Alex. Now,
Right, so the combat engineers have shotguns, which is nice.
For guardsmen normally.
No, typically a guardsman wants to be on a gun line with, a lot of his mates.
Yeah.
They
Really,
should
these
have,
guys,
you know,
they
deep
just
strike
go
so that they
forward
can...
to dig trenches, to clear wires.
All right, okay, yeah, they're just the
It's
stormtroopers,
a really
First World War
fantastic- well, they've got
stormtroopers.
a little bit more armor, and they're
They have special weapons, so they have grenade launchers, flamers, they've got shotguns. Yeah, the idea is they trench clearing.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty tasty in a fight. These guys. They've also got this scout rule. They can move before the game begins to get.
Okay,
further
so
forward.
they have scout,
And
not deep
this will let
strike.
them have the grenades. strapped
Grenades
into
for
them.
free. I
You
like
can
that.
See this little remote mine, which is a really cool little attack that one of the guys over the controller just sends out. doing,
Right,
mortal
little
damage to
mine.
nearby units, which is just a cool little model.
So it's
Very
much like an
nice.
orc thing where you have a rolling bomb.
What a great set that is.
Yeah, so
leading
if you
the
got the
forward
Forge World
into battle
version,
is
they
the
should still be
famed
compatible.
Lord Marshal Dreer.
Yeah.
What a model this is.
Marshal
Alex.
Dreer. Now, is he the one from the book?
Basically, he's achieved his position entirely through merit, as you'd expect from the Death Korps of Krieg, but he leads from the front. This isn't a general that stands at the back and orders his troops forward. This guy is going to be in the thick of the fighting. His
Is he
mount
from a book? I
is
don't
819,
remember if he was
so
like
we've
from
got numbers
the
named,
the
has
siege
fallen several
things.
times in battle.
Ah, right, yeah, that was
Marshal
Venner.
insists
Yeah.
that it
So this is
repaired and
a
returned to him.
Totally
Shield
different
repaired rather than
person.
just
Yes.
healed. I love it.
And so this has created this kind of myth about them that they
Okay,
are
okay.
indestructible. But, Dreer is well aware
So
that that's not actually the
again,
case.
we have a new martial person when we already have the Lord Solar. It's like we're doubling up on the number of units we have, where you've got 2 very identical models doing the same job. And I don't know if it's needed. I mean, I'm okay with the Grenadiers. That's good. We can have like veterans back, essentially. In theory, it depends what we've got.
Sword too. He's an inspirational leader for your forces. Don't run away when he's nearby.
But I don't know if one of them's going to be like, the Lord Solar stays at the back and does command point stuff, and he is more of a frontline model. But at least as a proxy for Lord Solar, it works. Whichever one is the better one is the one that you'll use. Otherwise, you just proxy the one as the other.
Can't wait to see those. Right.
Yeah.
There's also other stuff coming alongside Death Korps of Krieg. Now, of course, we've got the.
See you later, Nose Big
Codex.
Damas.
Now, we've talked a lot about
Okay, there's the
stuff, but
Codex. Krieg stuff,
The
anything
Expo
else?
will deal with the entire
Because
process
we're going to
of
have,
Cadens
or we're going to
and
mention
all
the
regiments,
detachments.
the Minotaur in there as well.
It
Just like
mentions
any
them
other
all,
codex, you can
right?
expect to see the backgrounds of the regiments, the fighting units, the rules for all of those, the histories of its most important conflicts it's fought through in the past. And excitingly enough, there's a brand new combat patrol as well called Drayden's Lance, which
Right,
sees
so
Rough Riders of Attila charging
Rough Riders are there.
by Kazakin and a command squad, which is great.
Yeah, this is an incredibly flexible
Okay, with
combat
Kazakin.
patrol.
So that looks,
'cause as you said,
unfortunately,
those
very
Rough Riders,
similar to the
huge
Death
amount
Korps
of
of Krieg,
Kazakin form a
where you've got
really
the
nice solid centre.
big box
So
for
we're gonna
them,
start for
which
Iran as
has the
well.
engineers,
Start
which
with
are
the
like
Minotaur.
Kazakin.
Don't
You
forget
have the
about
mounted
Minotaur
troops,
and
which are
Goblin
like the
Chariot
Attilan Rough Riders,
and
and you get a
Warhammer.
command squad.
And of
So
course,
this
in the
is
credits, we'll see, every
not quite a
rules, every
Cadian
unit,
version
every
of it.
vehicle. We already know some really exciting stuff about how units are changing. The tank commanders, for example, a Limras tank commander.
I mean, hopefully they aren't going to say the infantry squad disappears.
Their own rules. And the detachments in there, there are 5 different detachments for the
5 whole
Minotaur,
detachments. All right, all
depending on
right.
how you want to fight. For a combined arms regiment, you've got
Yep.
a siege regiment for your big guns.
Okay, so we
mechanized
actually have an
assault,
artillery
jumping
one.
tanks. Hammer of the Emperor is just all tanks,
yes.
which has a really nice stratagem where your tanks can just roll through terrain like it wasn't there. And
Very similar to the Crusher Stampede. What are we doing? Why is it doing that? I'll try refreshing it, but come back. Ah. I'll just go back a bit to like get back to where we were. So the tank command, they're saying they have it on like YouTube as well, but you can only see the most recent stuff. They're saying the tank commander is going to be separate to someone else. I don't know if it stopped working for everyone. It stopped working for me.
Whatever it is to be done by you.
Yeah, the tanks passing through walls is just for a stratagem. You can move the tanks through a wall, much like the this Crusher Stampede can for a stratagem. Stormtroopers, I don't think will be a kill team. No, they'll just be a unit that's in this box. It seems to have just stopped working everywhere. Yeah, I think it's crashed on the YouTube side as well, because if okay, maybe switch it out for the YouTube version.
Got
There we go.
Alchemy.
So we're still showing off the Krieg models.
it's their version of a medic, basically, that guy there. As well as
Very
all the
loud.
veterans in there, and maybe my favorite Servo skull in Warhammer 40,000.
So this is the command squad for the Cadians.
To keep note of everything with a little inkwell and pen.
That's it. You know this is a note to last because he's got.
Yeah, it's working again on YouTube. It's just that Twitch thing seems to be down. So I'm using the YouTube version now.
Is the heavy weapons squad. Of course, we've seen the Cadens
Right, so the basic heavy weapon squad,
version with slightly different weapons. Actually,
slightly different weapons. So
here we've got the
okay,
stubber,
twin heavy stubber,
the bigger
good.
las cannon. You'll have seen
A single las cannon, yeah, we've got them.
But exciting enough is the huge Krieg heavy flamer as well.
And a heavy flamer.
Really think of
Good.
Heavy flamer as part of a weapons team like this, but as you can imagine, say you took one in a squad, it's that guaranteed Overwatch success.
All right, okay. So you can have it in a squad. So if you had the models from the past where it was like, ah, yes, it's two guys holding a heavy flamer, and they were Death Korps of Krieg models, then you could use them again. And you can have these in a unit. Good to see that we still have the regular infantry squads, not just dedicated heavy weapons units.
So throughout December on the Warhammer community website, there's going to be a series of downloads.
Interesting,
which will offer
interesting.
Attachments for Warhammer 40,000 as some kind of Grotmus calendar.
Happy Grotmas,
What's
everybody.
this?
Yeah, throughout December, we're releasing 30 different downloads for Warhammer 40,000. All
Okay.
play legal, all game legal. You can use them wherever you want. To
Okay.
and there's some really exciting stuff in there, including the index for the Death Watch is on the way. Death Watch players will be very happy to see. They'll be
Right, so at some time in December,
their new index coming, and also
we get that.
players can be excited too. There's 4 detachments coming for them, one for each of the Chaos powers. What's
All
really
right.
nice is that they've been future-proofed too. So we just seen the Astra Militarum is getting their new codex soon.
New detachments, like, for every army?
Calendar is still legal once that book comes out too.
Oh, we're going to have a very busy December.
New codex, you can still continue to use these.
Absolutely, it's really cool, isn't it? Nice to see. Right.
All right. All right.
I'm going to head off to the old world.
So what's that going to be? It's a lot of new detachments then, potentially. That's nice. I like to see more. Hey, this is the Death Watch working as the Death Watch. So what we're probably going to get is just the one detachment for the Death Watch, and that'll be it. I don't know how exactly that will work. It's just going to be, yeah, this is a more dedicated thing that isn't Auto Xenos. It is Death Watch Space Marines, perhaps? We'll have to see when it actually comes out. They haven't really told us much other than there will be a detachment for the Death Watch.
The old world, and here it is with a whole swathe of releases. This is a really exciting one.
There is a
Okay, what are we re-releasing for them?
and one of the best things about it,
No, not Imperial Agents. Actual Death Watch by themselves.
That is,
Sort of.
It's a really cool thing to see. Many people who've played with Empire in the past will recognise a few of these miniatures, if not all of them. It's just great to see them back on the table again. But now, who are the Empire of Man at this point in the old world, Alex?
so for about 1,000 years,
The Empire of Man seems to have all of the things that they've had, like, to the end of the world, like the Griffin cavalry.
There's now about 4 factions, and they're not in a civil war outright, but
Oh, so this is the time when they're not in a civil war, but it's who's actually the Emperor? Very much debated.
peaceful.
Empire armies are made up of professional soldiers. There are blocks of state troops, missile troops, artillery, cavalry.
So we're just re-releasing the state troops and stuff.
Machines too. There's such a
Fine.
need to have
Okay.
old favorites coming back, including the state troops, the missile troops, the pistoliers, the knights, demigriff knights, and of course more exotic things like the steam tank, the general on Griffin, and the war altar are all coming back.
It just looks like, hey, you remember all that stuff? We're going to re-release it again.
As well, right? Remember the Grand Masters of the Knightly Orders from the past? I painted
Are
them.
they... Those are some old-looking models, though, at this point.
Priests.
Oh, the same models are coming back. They were quite nice warrior guard, warrior priests. Pretty good models. Yeah.
Order stuff with the classic engineers, battle standard bearer, general.
Yeah, it's the time when Christian von Carmian marched on Altdorf.
Flying in from the 90s, some
Oh,
really-
bloomin' heck.
We're also going to see the Imperial Ogres coming back. Now, these predate even my Empire army. Great to see these coming back from the past.
They, well, they've done that with the same, like, Chaos Ogres.
Also going to be hand weapons.
They bring back the older, as they were, horrible metal models for you to buy again. And I'm not sure if people want that. It's just, if you missed it the first time, you know, in the 90s, you can get it again.
25 years
And, hey, we've got the war wagon back, so that's cool.
is a Forge World resin kit.
Don't know, I mean, Chaos Dwarves. They've said they're not going to do Chaos Dwarves for the old world. Do they have, like, an index book? They might do. But even with them being really popular in the Warhammer Total War, I don't think it's going to be anything Chaos Dwarf. Yeah, they're showing off the new paints, but also... Oh, right. That is the same war wagon. That is not a new war wagon. It's just... Yeah, we have...
Everybody wanted a piece of it.
Oh, dear.
Got in there the man catch, you've got the
Yeah, it's the same old model. It was an awful metal model. Believe me that it was
all
awful.
experimental weapons together in one place, just in case one of them.
Because you
explodes.
need to get like 5 or
Which is
6
nice to
metal
see.
models
A great
fitting
miniature, added to
onto
the collection,
another
very
piece of
simple
metal,
and well,
which is
wonderful.
held together
Of course,
very
alongside
badly,
all the releases,
and you
we
need to have them all
the
fit and
Arcane
never
Realm
knock
for the
any of them
Empire
in the
Man,
slightest.
and
So
naturally
it
it's got
being the
all
same
history of the
model
Empire,
from the
city
past
states,
is
geography, and
disappointing.
guides in there.
That is
There's a
unfortunate.
historical refight in there,
Chaos
which
Dwarves do
fights
have
back
it good
against
in
the
index,
Beastmen.
right? Index
And
Chaos
arms of
Dwarves,
infamy
good,
in there
good,
as
which,
well,
you
I
know,
think.
There are
isn't
indeed
meant to be for
some
tournament
kicking,
play,
got
but
non-
the community
non-
shouted at Games
and
Workshop
there's
so
also,
much that they are going to be used for
field
tournament play.
any of the knightly orders
They each have their own special rules, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
have a nice
special rule for
panoramic
each
blazer
nightly
scene,
order.
which is really cool.
Okay.
And there's some new
can get
special
behind
characters
that.
too.
Except there will end up being a best
Proud
one, and a lot of
Gilson,
people will
Grand
say,
Master
yeah,
of
mine are
the
from that
Luftwaffe,
order.
And General Hans von Lohenheck.
Now, we're not going to show you pictures of those yet. They are very lovely, I can guarantee you this. But
Okay.
make sure you're keeping your eye on the
So-
community website for more information on those.
The
very
announcement
soon.
for them is
There's
we're going to
also a
have some
slew of
models, but you
new
can't see
units
the
we've
models.
never
But there's
seen
an
before
engineer
in the
model
Imperial
that's new.
Army,
So
for
there's one
Warhammer
new
Combat.
model for the Empire,
So,
and a lot
yeah,
of other
exciting
stuff coming
times.
back. And the
Keep your
Empire
eyes on
model
that,
we'd had a
get
while
all
ago.
of that Arcane Journal when it's available. Now, from one old world to another, we're going to the Horus Heresy.
All right, okay. Horus Heresy. That's a flyer. That's a Malkador Infernus, which has rules as legends in 40k. I'm pretty sure it does. Malkador Infernus. Malkador. Oh, okay. It's can be used in tournaments in 40k. Malkador Infernus, because it is a Forge World thing. Unless it is now going to get moved to Legends, which is entirely possible. They might do that for quite a few things. So these are the tanks that we were told were coming last time. Tanks! Exclamation mark. Yeah. The rules this edition suck for it. It explodes on a 3+.
Returns, the little pig that could
I know on a 3+ it can
What a great
shoot.
kit and beloved
Yeah,
by
it can
Horus
shoot.
fans all over. Wonderful to see.
When this
Actually,
model
really
is destroyed, roll a
fantastic.
d6 on a
It's really
3+.
cool for the first time in this scale.
It can
Right,
shoot
so
with
well
its
out of it.
Inferno
So
gun.
typically, when the army wants to
All
deploy
right.
something, they've got these massive landers.
And it also has
However,
2
if
heavy
you just wanna
stubbers.
bring,
So an
supplies,
Arvis Lander
some
is pretty
fuel,
cool. If you want to do like a
squad,
diorama,
the
it
Arvis
works.
Lander is basically the workhorse of the Divisio Aeronautica.
The Inferno gun,
remember using the
DC,
Aeronautica Imperial
D6 plus
quite a
3
lot in
shots
Britain
at strength
too, but it's nice in
5,
here. There are
AP
cheap
minus 2,
transport
2
fire
damage.
for your
Yeah,
arms
that's
and
not
heresy. They can
ideal.
Transport 12 solo
Can have
auxiliary
2 more
models,
las cannons.
and they can move 20 inches.
It
which
gets
is
-1 to hit,
fast.
which isn't
It's
going to
ideal
matter for its
a
massive
combat
Inferno
squad
cannon.
or a Carmian
So
to get
it's
or to get,
fine.
a special
It's just
unit
not that
out of
great.
combat.
Yeah, the flamer is rather
They
weak
need to-
considering what it
it's
is.
just great to
Especially
see.
compared
What's
to like
nice as well
battle
is the
sister
models like this
flamers.
chap in the
You have
back,
an extra
the
AP and an
models
extra
do fire a
damage,
huge laser
and
cannon
1
at the
less
back as well.
strength than a
That's
heavy
it.
flamer.
He's
That's a
modeled
very low
correctly in
strength.
there, so he's hanging
Yeah.
out. It's a lovely little bit of character to the model.
It's really nice.
It
And
could be a nice,
also,
yeah.
I'm told that there'll be
Could be a
more
nice
for that
Gene
on the
Steel
way soon
Occult
as well,
civilian
which is
thing.
cool
And if you
too.
get a pilot,
Great to have that in the
you can
game.
use a
But let's
pilot
also
as a
look
model, a
another
Gene
couple
Steel
of
Occult model.
tanks. Always fun for Heresy. This is the Valdor Tank Destroyer. That might be
A
one of the
tank
biggest guns I've ever
destroyer.
seen. Tell me more about this thing.
It's a
So
perfectly
these are
reasonable
based on
gun
the
size. It's
Malkador
not
frame,
that huge.
named for the Sigillite. And this is an older.
They're making it look
variant of
small. They're
tank,
making it look like it's
which
for
eventually will be
epic, and it's
replaced by the
not.
Lehman Russ, 'cause
It's
a little bit less
for Horus
reliable.
Heresy.
However, it's
We saw
bigger,
it
thicker
in like normal
armor.
scale.
You know, at this point in time, it's got a lot more variants, and this Tank Hunter one basically has a neutron beam
Okay.
weapon on the front.
I mean, it's a similar thing with these tanks compared to the Lehman Russes. We have a Lehman Russ variant that already is a tank hunter.
Incredibly powerful.
Why do we need another tank that's a tank hunter and also has sponsons? I know it's Horus Heresy, so that's fine. You can use it just for that, but it doesn't need to exist. You could just use Lehman Russ tanks, which were already there. Even if Lehman Russ is the one saying, hey, I need this fun special thing.
It's pretty tough too. Don't get into a tank fight with one of these, you're going to lose. Also on the Malkador frame is the Malkador Infernus, and this one
Yep,
maybe has a
Malkador
different
Infernus,
speciality.
as we
So
saw.
we've gone from heavily anti-tank to
With
heavily
its sponsors.
anti-infantry. It's got a massive flame weapon on the front. The carriage on the back.
It was
contains a
AP3
mixture
in
of
like
a
the
series
previous
of
editions,
that
so
have
it
yet
may
to be
still
mixed.
be an
They're
AP3
pumped
tank.
just behind the turret. And I was under the impression that maybe this was an element of safety.
Almost certainly not. It's going to be sort of saving fuel, isn't it? That's gonna
Yeah,
be the way
tank
to do it.
destroyer's
It's not
turret
about
can't
safety at
move.
all. I love
It's,
the
you
fact
know,
it's got
fixed
extra
into the
framing
center of the
sponsors
tank.
just in case
So
it
having it
doesn't
on a
go
turret,
didn't get
in
burned by the
theory, is
cannon.
better
This
because it can pivot and stuff,
Infernus
which is
cannon,
how like
that it's,
the
carrying
modern
is-
tanks
uses
are.
Hellstorm
They have
template,
turrets,
that
just
gigantic
larger flat
the
turrets.
Apocalypse
It's
template.
like rotating the
That
top
thing
of the
is like 18
tank.
inches long,
The whole like
and it's strength
up
8
a
with flamers,
50%
so
of a
yeah, it
tank
just
if it's
burns
a really
imagery
big
alive.
one.
Don't get near it. So up next, we've also got the new Doridio Dreadnought. This is the
Doridio
Boreas
Dreadnought,
configuration.
but with a
It's even
slightly
more
different
Covenant guns than the
variant.
other Doridio
It's got the
Dreadnought
twin
has
heavy
before. That's it.
twin heavy
So
bolters
basically, the Doridio
and
is a
slightly
stable
different
flop firing
guns.
platform. It was developed around the same time as the Contemptor, so it shares some of the features. And
It looks
early
like
in
a
the
Contemptor
Heresy,
Dreadnought with
it
guns.
was,
And it's a
you know,
shame they
not
don't just have,
necessarily in great
here is
use,
your
but when you're
Contemptor
facing,
body,
Legiones Astartes,
then
you
there's
need to have
guns
as
to
much
attach.
firepower as possible. It became
Dorito
very
dot.
popular.
It's just a wonderful looking kit. I mean, it's so unsubtle subtle. Yeah, it's got guns. And
Sweden
really big
made a
ones.
very angry
Forest
wedge with no turret.
configuration has the
Sweden
helicopters
has had
themselves
some
on top.
weird
They've got
tanks in
4
the
of them. They
past.
have the
Or
Skyfire
interesting
rule,
tanks is maybe the way to put
shoots
it.
things out of the sky. It can also have the choice of carrying the
Yeah.
Volt-type Falconets, which have the Deflagrate rule, or the Arrakis Heavy Las Cannon Battery, which just blows tanks
Yeah,
up.
I don't remember what the
So
Deflagrate
really
rule
big guns
does.
on a really
But it
tough,
sounds
tough
pretty
sim,
nasty.
2+ save walking
Could a Sister of
platform.
Battle be
It's
put
just
in a
great.
Dreadnought?
I'm really very careful with those
Probably
Comes
not,
alongside
but
two
I don't
weapons
see
kits.
why not.
So if
It's
you've
maybe
already
a
upgraded your Dreadnought and you
no,
want to,
because
upgrade
it hasn't happened
operating
yet.
configuration,
Until it
there's a
happens the
kit for that.
first time,
If
then
you've got
it's
one of
always
these,
been the way that
it's
Battle
back,
Sisters
there's
could
another
be in
one.
That's great. It
Dreadnoughts.
means you can have real
But we don't really
versatility
do
in
it.
modelling kits, and you can really
And you don't
take
really
to
have
battle
like
the way you
allies
want.
anymore in the
That's
same
fantastic.
army.
Right,
Can't have
let's
multiple
move from
factions
Horus
in this
Heresy and
edition.
Now move into the Mortal Realms.
Alright, so we're going to Age of Sigmar. So that suggests that so far, actually, that's all we're going to see for 40k. The Krieg stuff. No Eldar being shown off. But there'll be another preview maybe next month or in January, and then we'll see them. So they seem to be doing one of these like every month at the moment. Foot of Gork. I see the Foot of Gork. That's a nice, magic thing. Yep, we've seen that model before. Seen that model before, but with the tome. A lot of these are models we've seen before. I'm hoping to see something new other than just, there's Orruk War Clans. I mean, the spells look nice.
The Orruk War Clans are here for the Mortal Realms, the brand new battle tone, cool new models, and lots of other things we'll have a look at in a second as well.
Definitely great rule for Horus Heresy. Whenever the target fails a saving roll for the weapon,
so
it
in that book,
procs you to roll another. Right, okay. Amount of wounds compared. Right, okay. So it's like you can just keep wounding them if they've already been wounded. Very cool. Very cool.
Up first, part of that is this new boss towers. We can see here as well. This is the new.
All right, yeah, they blow up and
It's cool,
inflict.
isn't it?
Right,
Always
I get
very
it.
cool.
I get it.
So this is the
It's like big
Skeletal
explosion
Prototype.
stuff.
So
That
this
makes
is
sense. A
the
lot of things in
Cruel
like
Boys
6th and
version of
7th
this,
edition were,
whereby
people
they'll put
pop
these up
or
around
they
their
catch on
territories
fire
to
and then
indicate,
catch other people on
this is
fire.
mine, not yours. They have a habit of sort of
That's a nice
whispering,
totem.
because
You can
it's
absolutely
just
use that in
a watch
40k as like a
this
sniper
is
nest for your
wrapped
one
up with
sniper
winds
that
of
you
magic,
have.
and
Although the
say an
rules
enemy
for
army is
sniper in
approaching,
40k rather than
there's
kill
whispers
team
that mists
is,
will
this is
start
just
up,
a
they
big
might get
gun
lost
on
in
the
the fog,
infiltrator squad,
or
and that's it.
You could put a boss up there
You
to
can.
amplify everything.
You can
The
put a
War
boss up
Pulse from
in
Dawn of
both
War. I
these
was
towers,
thinking that.
and
I was
then
also
a
thinking of like the
shouty boss.
tower from
Various
Gorka
rules
Morka,
that go alongside
which is
them. Let's have
a
look at the
kind of
Iron Jaws
awkward
version, which is
tower,
the
but it's
boss
plastic.
rock
No,
tower.
it was card
And similar
one.
sort of
Yeah,
situation. They've built a
they were all
huge
card
tower
buildings
here,
back
but
then.
it's
They were very good
something
being
Yes,
card.
whereby the Cruel Boys might have a bit of thought, a bit of planning, because they're the Morky element, the Iron Jaws are the Gorky element, and this is where basically the War Chanter has found a rock he really likes, or it's
They're really
saturated
going
in
into
war
like the
energy.
glowing on that
And,
stick, which
rather than
is
be
probably more of a
watchtower necessarily,
an
the boss can
after
go up
effect
here and
rather than how they're
literally
painted.
bully the winds of magic.
but nice
does,
glowing stuff.
A shouty boss inside the boss rock tower gets the aggressively bossy rule to literally boss around the enemy army, which is really nice as well. So faction train come with the
Yes, and
Orruk Bracers,
Volkite
really
weapon,
cool.
very much a
Also,
Horus
we have
Heresy
the
thing, except for when they
manifestations here
keep
as
coming
well.
back
These are
in
the
like
endless
40k,
spells used
and
by
you
the
see
Oracle
Blade
Clan,
Guard
both the
veteran
Cruel Boys
sergeants
and the Iron
with
Jaws,
Volkite
used to use
pistols,
these.
and
of course, on the
lieutenants with
right-hand
Volkite
side, it's the
pistols.
Foot of
And I'm
Gork,
sure they
a
could just be
famous
plasma
beloved
pistols instead,
spell
but then
from
Games
the
Workshop would want
background of
you to
Warhammer
have a
here,
metal
and that
hand for
literally
that, just to
stomps
be like,
around
oh,
enemy
it's
army,
the
causing
joke.
devastation, which is
It's the
great.
joke, you know the
Gork
joke. I'm like,
Aura
yeah,
there, it's got
yeah,
the
I
skull
sure
with the
do
mists
know the
coming
joke
out of
about
it,
the
you can
plasma
conjure by
overheating.
wizards to
Yeah.
aid them in their magical spells, but at potential
The
risk.
spells look
and their
nice as
heads could
models.
explode if they imbibe
Just
too
that
much of the magical
they're
smoke.
not.
Very
They look
Very
like game
orky, yeah. The
pieces
Mork's
rather than
Marsh
models
is the
in
last one
themselves.
here, and
Like
this
the marsh, you're
transforms
like,
the land into
oh,
a
I really want to
scorching
put a
swamp,
marsh
which
down.
If enemy units go anywhere
Yeah.
near, or heaven forbid through, they could be in real trouble. So that's really nice to see new sort of manifestations for the faction. Of course, we've also got the new spearhead coming for the Iron Jaws as well. You've been asking for it, and here it is. Every time I run an event, someone asks when this one's coming along.
So the spearhead
And,
is
it's
finally
right
out,
now,
which
a
gives you
bunch
the
of
big
Iron Jaws
boys,
there, led by a
the
mega
big
boss.
boys that
We've
are
got 2
topless,
units of our boys,
the big
5
leader
beast
ban,
unit of
who
3
makes a
brute
very
rangers
nice
and
war
5
boss in
brutes
40k.
on a
Then
seriously
you can
hitting
have
spearhead.
That's it. You've
a
got
lot
4
of,
units of infantry, so
you know,
they've got to take a long time to get across the
Yeah,
table.
they really
snake
are. Well, you
bitey
think that,
style,
but the Mighty
or if you want a
Destroyer's
beast
battle
boss,
trait rule
he
lets
works
them
very well
move
as a
in
beast
any
boss.
hero
The
phase,
big
so
ones
they're
look good
coming
as
at you in
orcs
your
in
turn,
mega
which is
armor.
terrifying.
It's
Also,
fine
the
for that.
spearhead lets them
And then
move
the
on
regular
maneuver, which is
boys
always
can
a
be
bonus, but not what they
knobs,
think about
knobs on
objectives when it
foot.
comes
So if you
against
want to
spearhead.
expand
Of
your
course, don't
orc
forget
army
the
for
old spearhead is still
40k,
legal
this
to
is a
use. The
decent way to
Cruel
do
Boys
it.
one there, the Fire and
Savage
Joker
orcs
still
have
those
been
units, but
like
still use that. There's
disappeared
another another new miniature.
They're not going to be
coming
sold
here,
anymore,
it's
which
the
is a
Hot
shame.
Rot Slitter
Yeah.
Boss.
Yeah.
What a cool model.
What
this
you've
guy
missed for
is. Tell me about that
40k
sword, why you're clicking
is
in, whatever that looks
Krieg.
like.
Definitely Krieg,
these
all the
guys
Krieg
basically lead
stuff.
the Hobgrot companies, and so they get the best gubbins, the best weapons,
Which
the
is a lot of
scrap,
stuff we'd
all
already
that,
seen before for
and they'll
Krieg,
tend to grab
but it's
the
no
biggest
longer
weapon. Essentially,
part
that means you're
of
the best, and
the
they'll slather it in
expanded
various toxins
15
and stuff,
plus
just to
expert
guarantee that
kits.
they win.
They're now
There's a
mainline
little tool
40k,
tied in with that called
which
Toxic
means we're
Stamp.
having a
Once per
duplicate
battle, it's got
of
a charge
the
of
cavalry
like killing
and
your
a
hero
duplicate
on a lucky
of
dice
elite
roll, which is
infantry
really
as
cool.
Kazakin
So
and
that's
engineers are
completely
now
Hogwarts.
like doubled
And
up.
also we've got the new battle tome, of course, which has everything you've come to expect from.
And we have a new
Warhammer
like
battle
Lord
tome,
Solar guy,
all the
which is a
history
field
of the
marshal,
factions that carry
very
these famous
similar kind of
battles,
role.
lots of information.
So we're
about
seeing a lot
battle
of the
tropes,
stuff we already have,
something, all the
but
rules
it's
you'll need.
Kriegified,
Path to Glory
which I
rules are
think
in there
people who
too,
like Krieg
and
would
split
what
between
they were going to
Path
get
Rules and
already.
Convoy, so you can
That's what
choose
they
which way you
wanted
want
to
go.
see.
And there's
It's
some really
us,
nice,
but Krieg.
bits in here as well.
That's
One
how
of
the Imperial
armies
Guard
of renown
works.
is
It's
the
this
Big
thing,
War.
but specially for this
Previously you were
regiment.
able to mix all your orcs together.
Yeah.
Now you can with that army of renown. And
I'm
that
glad
lets
there's a
you
big
use
war, so
all
you can
those
actually
together that
have
has specific battle
your
traits,
orcs
specific
together
enhancements,
in an
that sort
orc
of thing
army,
there as well.
like in Warhammer
My
Fantasy,
favourite regiment of renown is
sort of
called
like
the
that,
Goblin Hogs.
where it isn't,
They're
yes,
all the
my
swine.
goblins
Swine.
need to be somewhere else,
More grunters
and my
in
night
any
goblins are
of the
something
structure
separate,
realms as well,
and my
which is
squig
really
goblins
cool.
are something else,
So there
and
we
then
go,
my
that is
orcs are
the
something
new
else,
Orc
but not
Warclans
this kind of
coming very
orcs, because
soon.
they're
And
stealthy
of
orcs
course
or
we've got
swamp
something
orcs
else
or
coming now as well. This
swarps.
is the new Path to Glory book, Alex.
Yeah.
Indeed. So this is Ravaged Coast, and we've previously fought in Hellcrown along the Ravaged Coast, which is basically that region in between the north.
Well, you need to
and the
source
rest of
circular
Ecce.
bases. Well,
We've
for
been
Age
fighting
of
in Emberguard,
Sigmar
and,
stuff,
we're
compared to like
right
40,
here in,
compared to
Hell's
Warhammer
Claw,
Fantasy,
slap
you
bang in
should
the
just
centre
put them
there,
on the circle
and
bases.
this is basically
And
a
then
ruined
when you rank
city,
them up
previously cornered,
into
defensive
Age of
cornered, and now,
into Warhammer
you know,
Fantasy,
up for
you're just
grabs.
putting them on a piece of
And all
cardboard
four
and be
factions
like,
are
yep,
actually
there they
trying
are. They're the right
to dig
distance
it up, take the
between the
Emberstone,
different
control
models.
this very
That's
important
how many
territory.
there are in a
Path to Glory,
rank.
of
It
course, is a way
works.
of playing narrative games where you follow your heroes through a path that go on quests. earning
Okay,
special
nice
enhancements,
own
all
Path
written
to
into
Glory
this
book.
It's a very different and
Very
fun way
good.
of playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar if you're just used to playing match play. Highly recommended. And this book is chock full of background and bits and pieces for you to play your games.
You
at
can
home as
have more
well.
of a cavalry-themed
The
Brood Brothers
Outlook is in there as
Auxilia
well,
list.
so you
That's
create
an
your own
option for
heroes,
Gene
and the
Stealer
book actually
Cult.
contains,
Yeah, so you'll have
some
Krieg
examples
mounted
of
cavalry,
converted heroes
you'll
that
have
people have done
Attilan
too,
Rough
which is
Riders
really
mounted
nice to
cavalry,
see.
and then
So
you'll
they
have
actually
Gene
scratch
Stealer
your hobby
Cult
boxes as well.
Atalan
It's a
Bikers.
nice different way of
So
playing
you
the game.
can do
Now,
speed.
we've seen the Warhammer 40,000
Unfortunately, it's the wrong detachment to get all of the rules working for the speedy list, because you want to be the Outlander Claw, but you can't take allied Imperial Guard stuff outside of the Brood Brothers Auxilia. It's an annoying thing for like the detachments. So if we're getting, did they say something like 20 new detachments in like December? Because that's really nice. I mean, we know that 4 of them are going to be Chaos Demons.
Expect those coming for Grotmus.
One of them is the Death Watch. Good.
That's not all for the Mortal
Is that going to
Realms.
be another
We've got even
detachment for
more
lots of
coming.
other people? Because if it's going to be like, okay, here, Votan not getting a codex for a while, here's a new Votan detachment. Here's a new, I don't know, Chaos Knight detachment. That'll be good. So I'm gonna go back after this and check what they said for that. Because it could also be for like, oh, it also is some Age of Sigmar things. Because I can't imagine, oh yes, we're doing the great count up or countdown into Christmas, but it's only 40k. Yeah, 3rd Drukhari detachment. Snarl boss on Warwheeler. It's a Goblin Chariot. Just call it a Goblin Chariot. You don't need to be weird about it. We're familiar with wolf chariots and wolf riders. They've been around since before Warhammer was Warhammer.
Yes, well, we've seen the Auric War Clans, but now their shorter, meaner-spirited cousins are on the way. This is the new Gloomspite Gits coming to the Mortal
Yeah,
Realms.
bikers and horse cavalry
leading the
does
way
sound
are
really
the
good.
Git mobs, who are these...
I mean, it would also sound really good
Looks
for
like
just
Grot's riding
Imperial
giant
Guard generally.
wolves. Alex, who are these guys?
That's pretty much it. So
So we know that
previously
one of them's going to be
we've been all
Imperial
about the War
Guard
Clans, but
as
now
like
the
an
Git mobs
extra
getting
one.
their time
I'm
in the
curious
sun.
as to
No
what
pun
that'll be.
intended.
It kind of,
basically, they
the
hate
stream died
face
about
frazzle
the
kits.
right
So
time
this is the
when they were
lighter
going to say,
fictional,
ah
we
yes,
basically
this is
provide
the kind of
lighter
detachment
B-side
we're
for all
getting.
the realms.
But we know
However, the
there's going to
lighter
be a
fish
tank
hurts their
detachment, an
bleeding
artillery
minds.
detachment, a
So
combined
they've
arms
decided
detachment,
that they're
and
going to
2
take it
others.
down. And so these guys wear loads of shiny weapons and armor, and that absorbs the lighter fish.
If the
Hopefully,
Gene Stealers
into
appeared in the
Emerald
Bronze
Clan.
Age, would we see
They
some
also
Gene
use it as a
Stealers on
weapon as well, don't
chariots?
they, to,
Almost
against
certainly.
foes. We'll
I
see
think
that
the
in a second.
Patriarch would be
So
on a
wonderful
chariot being
miniatures on
pulled
the way.
probably by
Lots to
horses,
just
maybe
re-emphasise,
Gene
by the way,
Stealer
that,
called
the
horses
Moonclan
that had
stuff is
claws.
still in this
Oh
book. It's
wait,
still 100%
that's what the
continued,
Death
so don't
Riders
worry,
could
Moonclan
be.
fans, you're still involved. But the Git mob
30
stuff, let's have a look at some of the new
downloads.
models coming in this army set.
But is it all
Now, these are
40k
the
though?
Snarl Pack Cavalry.
I
We've
I think
seen the
they put it in the
Snark
40k
Riders
section,
before,
so that
the Snark Fang
suggests
Riders, sorry, which are
yes,
these sort of the
maybe.
cavalry, but
Every
these
faction
are
gets
even
at least
bigger
one
snarl wolves,
download.
with two
That'll
dots on the
be
back rather than one.
interesting.
Tell me about these guys.
Don't know if it's going to be super cool, but if it's going to be, you know, compatible for all of your match play things forever,
from birth, in order to ride
that's
it.
useful.
Rare times whereby grots have to work
How
together.
many detachments
because
do
if
we
they
have?
don't, chances are they're going to get eaten, or the boss is going to.
Will they do a one more thing at the end of the show and pull a model after left field? No, Alex, no. But thank you for the money, Alex. Thank you. They will probably say, and we also will have, ooh, it's something's coming. And they'll vaguely show off like a logo, like they did last time, where it was like, ooh, Emperor's Children 2025. We don't know exactly what it'll be.
And as they
Space Marine Captain,
into
Space Marine
combat,
Lieutenant.
they basically discharge it and blind the enemy.
As talking of absorbing light and stealing it, this is the Sun Stealer Wheeler. This is the new lightweight chariots coming along, built for speed.
These chariots look really nice. Goblin Chariots. Remember the last time? Well, Goblin Chariots were in metal.
Wicker, and as you said, these are supposed to be really
Outrider Lieutenant. So that'll be a lieutenant on a bike.
Effigies of
yeah, possibly. There's not really enough units that are bikes to warrant that.
These things burn up.
I mean, there's probably quite a few things that they should just get rid of.
Just a wonderful little kit.
In the Space Marine range, because it's like, we have this Banner Bearer man, but we also have a separate Banner Bearer man that can only join the Blade Guard. That seems unnecessary.
The force, the army set we've seen there.
Blade Guard Ancient. Yeah, we already have an Ancient, and an Ancient in Terminator armor. That's enough Ancients.
For the Git mobs. Who is this guy, Alex?
Indeed, so this guy basically
7,
led the
8,
Git mobs
9.
from Hish into actually during the Age of Chaos. Now, as you can probably think, that was
yeah, so we have
That is
23
pretty old for a
factions,
god.
then if we
The
skip out
reality is,
Titanicus,
he's not
that's
very old for a god.
22.
When
Imperial
the first
Agents, we don't know if
drops
they'll
got hit by
count
an arrow,
for
his
Chaos,
Starfighter
not
ran up
Chaos,
the second in
for
command
Space
and went,
Marines or for Imperial Agents, the Death Watch
jumped
new
on,
stuff,
and
if
there
that's
was new
Imperial
drops,
Agents or
and there
Space
has
Marines.
basically been
And we know there's going to be 4 for
continuation of
Chaos
various drops that
Demons,
have taken on the
which
role of
suggests that
drops
they're
throughout
going to be
history.
a while before they come out with something new. But hey, having like an extra viable, actually viable detachment for the Imperial Agents, is that just going to be the Death Watch though? And then there'll be a rule saying, hey, yeah, we can take Space Marines in it. We won't know until it comes out. So it evidently, that's going to be taking a while to come out. It means that the Death Watch aren't going to come out at the same time as like the changes to the Battle Sisters, the changes to the Gene Stealer cult. That should all be in like the quarterly patch.
Doom Diver Catapult, a wonderful recreation of a classic.
Oh, that's a nice Doom
Games
Diver.
Workshop miniature, the Doom Diver here. We've seen it in Warhammer
Actually
for 30
flying out.
years, and here it is with these
That's good.
wonderful interpretations.
That's been done well.
Huge as well. Alex, why on earth would a grot put on wings and get inside this thing?
For a grot to volunteer to be part of the Doom Diver crew, we've got to put a lot of emphasis on the word volunteer there. Rarely does
So
that
you can
occur.
have it where they're
So basically
either
strapped
being
on
pulled
wings,
back ready to
puts on a
fire,
metal helmet that
or you
again
can have it
does
where they're
not
being
detach.
launched.
So upon impact, it explodes.
That's devastating.
Yeah,
I
you
love
have
that
the
there's a little-
bomb. I see the
little
bomb on
tiny
the head,
snot at the
which
back
looks like a
there.
football.
So the mechanism is so unreliable that the only one that's allowed to use it is a snotling. They're the most expendable of grots.
I love it. The actual damage it does on the battlefield.
Yeah, the
represents how
Doom.
big this
It
miniature
looks good
is.
as a Doom
Monster
Diver,
shooting
and I
attack. It
don't
does
see why
4
you can't
attacks,
just take the
23
top
damage,
part
3.
and put it in a
But actually
Warhammer the
what's
Old
nice
World
is you
army.
can re-roll the hits representing the Doom Divers trying to sort of use their wings to
Hello, Sindri.
careen into the action, and every time you use a re-roll, it loses some rend there. So it's just a really nice little narrative piece and a wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun for the manual aiming of just going, I am now flying towards the enemy.
This is the Snarl Boss on
That's
the
great.
Warwheeler.
They're really going quite hard on the Goblin Wolf Chariots, which is pretty nice.
Riding a Snarl Fang.
So the Snarl Boss basically has to.
These were for Age of
outsmart
Sigmar,
one of
yes?
these alpha
These were
Snarl
for Age of
Fangs.
Sigmar.
But if you've managed to get 2,
But, you know,
you can get yourself a Warwheeler. They tend to have
they
the
could
best
also
goblins,
be
the shiniest things.
used
As you
in
can
the
see,
old
his
world.
belly is looking
There's no
rather
reason why not,
Yeah,
because
it's
the
a
old
really
world
nice
stuff
little
was just,
mod
oh, it's
sequence in
Empire,
the
but we only have one
Warwheeler.
new model,
Quite the
and then we
portrait
have
of
some
the
really
Warwheeler.
old
That's
things
a lovely
you might
miniature,
want to
and,
buy, but
up
I
next
don't
we've
think
got
you want to
the
buy
other
them.
hero that's also part of the same kit. This is the Frazzle Git Shaman. It's a little
That's a
wizard
big
there
top.
on top of a giant skull. Why is he so high up, Alex?
So the Frazzlegrit Shaman, as you can imagine, are obsessed
He
with
wants to be
absorbing the light of Hish.
yeah,
and
wants
he's
to be
hoping that by
electrocuted.
being, 7 or 8 feet extra in the air, you might get a little bit of juice. But
Does it work?
well,
With the
that's
dead
debatable.
bird on his head.
However,
Okay.
being up there
Dead
gives
bird
him
on his
a
head.
Really good line of sight.
Got
He
the
can see
skull
over
for the
mists,
goblin
he
that's
can see over
driving the
enemies.
chariot.
So it does help him in the end.
He's got to fall off quite regularly, though, surely. That doesn't look very stable.
Mm.
What a wonderful
That looks
piece.
fun. They've
Now,
gone
there
with
will
the
be a
fun stuff for the
Green Spike
goblins,
spearhead
which
on
is
the
what you
way.
should have with
A
goblins.
very
Goblins
star
should be
fan
silly
themed
and
spearhead.
cruel,
It's not gonna be
but
released for
also
a
very
while
much
yet,
silly.
So hold on for that one, folks. But just know it is on the way. But don't forget your current Moon Clan spearhead with all those horrible rock trogloths. I've killed them once. I did that. I did it once. That's still legal to use in your game. No problems at all.
Yeah, we need this Notling
Let's
Pump
have a look
Wagon
at the
back.
battle
If
table
not
as well.
in
The last thing we're going to
like
talk about here, the whole new book.
old world stuff, you could also do it in Age of Sigmar.
Pack full of lore, who the Git mobs are, covers the battle formation.
The Hobgoblins, they'll just stay as a sub part of the Chaos Dwarves in their index thing.
That sounds fun. Painting guides in there too, loads of rules for all the units.
No, those squigs are wrong. Squigs should be red. They should all be red.
Through the ranks of the Path to Glory, which is just great.
That's very
The
cool.
Path to
Really,
Glory
really cool.
book
It's
seems
time to move from
okay.
one book to another, as we've got some stuff.
There's just
coming
so
from
much
the
to try and keep up with that I've very much dropped out of like, oh, what's happening with Age of Sigmar. Now Black Library could just be books, or it could just be... That's cool. Cool looking. Yeah. But are we going to get new models? That's the important thing with Black Library. Is there going to be a model or like a special edition? For the moment, it just looks like books. The Art of Warhammer, but not actually with Battle Sisters. Caradons. Later.
So there we go. It's the Black Library celebration. Of course, happens every year, but this year's a little special, isn't it?
So they're announcing
we've
the
got an
annual
entire week
celebration.
rather than a day or a weekend. So we've got a huge range of books coming. As part of that, we've got Imperial Infantryman's Handbook.
Now, that one's actually coming out alongside the.
So it's
Kree
not the
stuff we saw before,
uplifting
a little bit
primer, or it
before
is the
celebration.
uplifting
It's
primer?
We'll talk about it now
Sneaking
anyway.
in ahead.
Ah.
And so this combines the
Yeah,
uplifting
Carcharodon
primer
book.
and the
There'll probably be no
Departmental Military
Carcharodon
Handbook,
models,
basically in one.
but it'll be a
solid tab.
Carcharodon book.
This one is slightly Krieg themed, so this is previously owned by a trooper, picked up by the quartermaster, and eventually will be redistributed to the troops.
It's great to see. It's, of course, the books that we'ed seen before,
Yes.
but just repackaged into this nice little book.
All right, it's a repackaging of the book.
Of course. What else
That's
we got coming for the celebration?
less
So we've
interesting
also
than
got
actually
Art of
releasing a
Warhammer
new book.
40,000, which is over 200 pages of beautiful images. We've got Out of
200
Dark
pages
and
of
Red
art.
Tide
It's a shame
from
the
Robbie
internet
McNiven,
exists where
which
you can see them all
before
anyway.
The Carcharodon Astra books, but these are
Yeah,
returning in
they should
special
do a new
editions.
Tybros model
Shade of Cain,
or
which is
anything new
basically real-life
Carcharodons because they have
Companion
a really
has,
interesting look because they
deserted her
use a lot
post.
of the Mark
That is,
V
free now again
Horus
in the launch.
Heresy,
Can't
the
return to the
Heresy
ancients this
style,
year.
the
Gotcha
Heresy
doesn't
pattern
particularly want anything to do
armor,
with her.
as you know,
And the world has
firstborn.
changed a great deal.
Oh, it'll
since
probably be
she,
incredibly
quoted
expensive as an
basically
art
her
book.
trying to make her way
Very
through.
expensive.
We've got Hell's Last, which is the next in the
Another
Minka
Minka
series
Lesk.
from Justin Hill. We've then got the
Good. I mean,
Gotrek and
she's quickly
Mammoth
going to become like,
Omnibus.
and
Now,
now
this
I am
puts
Lord
together
Solar
8
because I'm one of the
novels,
only
short
people
stories
left
of
from
Gotrek's
Krieg,
adventures in
from
multiple
Cadia
realms,
who
and it
survived.
comes to nearly 1,000 pages.
That's a mighty tome.
Yes, so if you're looking for something to read early next year, those Dark Nights, there's a keep you
So,
going.
is it going to
Fantastic
actually come
stuff.
out for
Of course, there's
Christmas for
more
people to
coming
get at
for the Black
Christmas?
Library celebration, but
Maybe
we'll
not.
those on the Warhammer
Maybe
Tea
not.
website at some point soon, for sure. There we go.
Yeah,
That's
Khorne
been
Berserker chain
a
axes work quite well.
wonderful preview.
I mean, Khorne
We've
Berserkers
seen some
generally
wonderful
with the
stuff there.
they still have the
Host.
chain across
We've
their
seen
body.
Old World, we've seen Death Korps,
Yep.
we've seen those new vehicles.
Yeah,
of
so this
Horus
looks like
Heresy,
everything. So
we've
no
seen the
Emperor's
Age of
Children,
Sigmar
no
stuff, of course,
Eldar
they've got
announced,
all plans, and the Green Spike kits.
nothing for Imperial Knights or Grey Knights.
Oh, yes.
Now,
Okay, so
normally that would be
there
enough
is
for a
still
preview, wouldn't it?
some stuff.
That's quite a bit.
That is an
But it's
okay
Christmas.
actual
We're feeling quite
preview.
generous.
All right, yeah,
So
here's
here's some more
their
stuff.
little wink wink at the end. Those look like Warp Spiders and Swooping Hawks. Are we going to actually see any of them? No, it's just next year, Warp Spiders and Swooping Hawks. Or at least the Warp Spider and Swooping Hawk Exarchs? Oh no, there we are, actual Swooping Hawks. We're seeing Swooping Hawks. It's happening. There are Swooping Hawks in the building. That's Barothi? Yeah, Barahoth. Bahar... Him. Yeah, Baharoth. Once the Eldari ruled the stars, then Slanesh did some stuff. There we are, Warp Spiders. New Warp Spiders. And that is a very cool Phoenix Lord, because they didn't have a Phoenix Lord before. That is nice. So that's coming out of a portal. Okay. And new Fire Dragons. Oh, very cool. There's that Fuegan model. Yeah, so this is very much this is coming, and hopefully they come in a box. You can get all of them, because people will just want all of them. New a sermon? Brand new sermon? Yeah? Good. Are there any others in the background we can see? Well, that's 3 Phoenix Lords. Four Phoenix Lords. Is that all the Phoenix Lords then?
Wow.
From the webway, the Eldari have returned.
Here they are. We've been sneaking and teasing about them. We've mentioned a few things.
Yeah, and we've seen that.
And they're still sneaking and teasing the existence of them. They're not showing them off in like 3D or anything.
Worth of miniatures coming our way. Let's take a look at what we've got.
So new, yeah, we haven't got the Scorpion.
We've seen him already a little bit before.
Person.
This model is just
no new, no new
Tommy
Phoenix
knows watching
Lords for the Scorpions.
Why is he a big deal?
So he's one of the Phoenix Lords, and these guys were basically the original exarchs of the Aspect Warriors. And every time they die, another
He's
one
so stealthy
takes
they
the
forgot
armor and
Karandras.
takes the
So you're
place.
still
It's
using the metal model from the
combined
90s,
spirit of all these
which I
warriors,
have.
all this experience, and Fuego the Burning Lance.
Oh, and
basically
we've already
embodies
done
the-
Jane Czar.
the act
Yeah,
of a
Jane Czar's
building
already been
that
done.
can bring peace, because they all embody a different aspect of Caleb and Shakane, the god of war.
Shadow Spectres
like
will
when he's playing
probably end up
4K
in
where he's
Legends
like,
rather than
"I
getting the
killed the entire
new
army,
version.
there's no more
There'll
conflict
be
going on."
Yeah, there's peace.
Great. I like that guy. He carries his custom fire pike, Sear Sword,
Because they
the
were
most
a
devastating
Forge World
weapon in the
unit,
game,
I think
pretty
they'll
much.
disappear.
It's strength 14, damage D6, melter 6. It's just amazing. And his big axe as well.
Was it
don't
an
get
Emperor's
near him.
Children
So
Marine on the
near and
Codex
far, he's a
cover?
problem. Just a wonderful miniature and really nice to see. Sculpted banner as well.
Oh,
I love a
yes.
sculpted banner. Good
I
to see
don't
that.
think
But of course,
so.
Fuegan
I'll have a
leads
look.
The Fire Dragons.
Indeed.
Another new plastic kit.
So these guys, again, they embody that idea of destruction.
Yeah.
And one of their little...
They're very nice looking fire
they've got
dragons.
the intuitive ability to understand where to shoot
Yes, that
to
was a dead
destroy
Emperor's
war
Children
shield
model
or
on
tank.
their
And
new
the Exarch
codex.
there in the middle. The Exarchs also have some past lives involved in their armor. Is able to do that for even tanks he's never seen before.
Okay, I wonder what they actually say about the Phoenix Lord for the Warp Spiders, because there hasn't been one. Was he just missing, or...?
Melter weapons by another name.
Yeah, he was
really.
just missing.
And if you've
That
ever
was
fought
it.
against Eradicators for the Space Marines, these guys have a similar rule called Assured Destruction. They can
Okay,
reroll
so
everything.
remember how I made
So
jokes
they
about the
can kill with a short
Eradicators
tap.
for the Space
What's
Marines
really
just
nice
being
as well
fire
is there's a new
dragons?
weapon
Well,
option
now they're
for
getting the
fire
same
dragons.
rule.
Fire dragons,
So
can
they
flames.
are just fire
Also,
dragons.
They can have flamers too as well. So don't want to take a fusion gun? Maybe have one there for maybe persuading your opponent not to come anywhere near you. And the
So you can probably
Exarch
still have
has
the
weapon
flamer,
options. You
the
can
fire
change it to a
pike,
fire pike,
yeah.
or even a dragon axe for devastating close combat attacks too. So
Oh, you can have the
it's a
axe
really
if
nice
you just
plastic
want to
kit,
be
lots of
like,
different
yep, this
options
is
in there.
my
Really
basically
nice sealing
Fuegan
plastic.
standard.
Also coming in plastic, it's more Aspect Warriors. It's the Swooping Hawks. These guys look drastically different, Alex.
They
Tell me
look
about
all
these.
right.
Yeah, so
They're
these
not
guys
drastically
basically
different. They look the
incredibly
same.
lightweight armor, and you can see with those wings, they're able to take to the
They
air,
look
give
very
that
nice,
aerial
though.
support,
I have some
they
metal
can scout
ones
out
that
a
are
little
pretty.
bit.
Oh, that's a
What they'd
nice
like to do
sergeant.
is they like
Very
to go
nice sergeant.
really high up, and so if you're
With a
looking
sword
up,
and a
there's
pistol.
just this
I mean,
tiny silhouette
Exarch.
of
They
him
don't have
who
sergeants.
strikes
They have
down
Exarchs.
and wipes out everything.
That's terrifying. I don't like it at all. They are carrying las blasters, which is a lovely little blast back to the past of Eldar. They shoot 4 strength, 4 shots apiece. They can drop grenades
Yep,
on people.
las
as they
blasters
fly
are
over
cool.
as well.
They
And the
still drop
Exarch
grenades
has
on
a choice
people.
of lots of different weapons, including the Sun Pistol and Power Sword, which you can see the model carrying there.
Yeah,
They're just a really cool
that's
utility
an
unit. And Alex, they're all
okay
standing on
option.
hero rocks.
I
and
prefer
Gives
the
them a
bigger
nice little,
guns.
level of dynamism.
really beautiful models in that iconic.
Some of them look
team
really
armor
good. I
scheme.
hope they do
That's
like
just
a
great to
model of
see.
the month that
But of
is
course,
just
they
a
also
Swooping
have
Hawk,
a Phoenix
because I
Lord,
will
and
get
there it is in
several.
plastic. This is Baharoth.
Yes, Baharoth, the Cry of the Wind.
Hmm.
He trained on Azuran, as all the Phoenix Lords did. He was the first of their kind. And
Okay,
Baharoth was the
I don't know if I like
first
the
to
bird
basically
face
master the
helmet with
abilities
the
of aerial
massive
combat.
feathers.
That's why he's got
I
the
like
big
the
old beautiful
wings.
on the back there.
Good
He
looking
carries
wings.
A terrifying weapon called the.
Yeah, everyone's
Phoenix
thinking about the
Tortoise.
detachments. I'm
It's
thinking
like
about the
a super duper
detachments.
Hawk's Talon weapon, and he's just
But
devastating.
yes,
A
nice
great
Hawk's
model having
Talon.
force makes your Swooping Hawks
Good.
even more agile. He can help.
He
them
does look a
go
bit
far
like a
off the table
Kroot,
and
I
come back
guess.
and pick up
Yeah.
reserves later on, which is
What have you
lovely.
missed? You've missed
Just a beautiful
Krieg.
miniature and
You've
one on
missed.
table as well. It's
Well,
worth
we're on
mentioning
with
all these
the
Phoenix Lords
Eldar
are
stuff.
both devastating in shooting and combat. While
As
you
a
might
very
think
much,
this guy's
yeah, the
specialising,
last thing they're
all
gonna
just good at
mention.
everything. But then that's
In their
the Eldar
presumably
anyway.
hour-long preview.
You mentioned him before. Let's have a look at this.
Good.
This is Azaman, the Phoenix Lord of the
I'm
Dire
not
Avengers,
sure
and
about the
what a
face on
mission that is.
Azaman.
He is
That's
absolutely brilliant.
a
He
weird
was the
choice.
first
That
of
looks
the
very
Phoenix
Tomb
Lords,
Kings
and
looking.
basically mastered all of Kane's
But it's
sort of
pretty good.
aspects of war, and taught the other Phoenix Lords various elements of that. So they each embody one aspect of it, but it's
They're all one
Azuran that
aspect
kind
of Kane. His
embodies
face
that
was always weird, I
central
guess.
doctrine of battle.
But I think this looks
calm,
worse. I mean, you could
strategic
forgive it
mind.
in the past
As you can
because
imagine for a mentor
it was
for
a
other
metal
Phoenix Lords,
model,
he's absolutely devastating.
which was
on the
then in
tabletop.
like
So
resin.
The Bloody Twins, his personal shuriken weapons there, are damage 2, and the
So I'm
sword
wondering
of
if there's
Azaman you
any
carry
aspect
there has
warriors
6
not
attacks,
in
strength 6,
plastic.
AP 3, damage 3. He just cut Terminators in half with a single
I
sweep.
think we have
And there, he's
plastic
been around
for
for a few
everything
hundred years,
now.
so he knows what he's doing.
When
And
these
it's
come
a
out.
wonderful miniature and a great model on the table and another
Yeah.
sculpted back
Yeah.
banner, which I'm here for. I love those banners.
I'll
Coming
have a quick check.
alongside these releases is the new
Eldar.
Eldari Codex as well, and it's a bit of an overhaul for the Eldari.
Okay.
Here. Now,
Oh, big
with respect to
overhaul.
New rules and detachments and things as you were before, and new lore and everything else you'd expect to see in the
Yeah.
book there. But there's a couple of things that's worth pointing out here. First of all, the Strands of Fate rule they had before has been replaced with
Yes.
a rule called battle focus. Strands of
Getting
Fate
rid of
really
Strands of
tries
Fate.
to predict the future as a Farseer might do, but battle focus instead teaches your force to move more with more agility around the table. So really playing on that.
And they're going to get
aspect of
faster.
being super flexible and super fast, which is nice. Don't worry though, Strands of Fate is still around, but only in one of the detachments, the Seer
Right.
Council detachment. And
Oh, a
it's
Seer
changed a
Council
little bit.
detachment. I'm
Now, talking
assuming an
about detachments, there are
Ulthway-style
7
detachment?
in this book, which is really cool.
7
Going
detachments,
from the
very
Warhost, the Windrider
impressive.
host. If you want an army of wraiths, it's there for you. If you want an
Yep,
army of
so we're
Harlequins,
following
they're
all
in
the
book
different
as
craft
well,
worlds.
which is nice to see.
Okay,
And
the Harlequins are in the
really one
book.
I wanted to point out here is the devoted of your need, the Yanari units.
Okay.
Because the Harlequins and the Drakari units you can use in the Eldari forces are in the Codex itself.
So you've got all the Harlequins, all the Drukhari in there, so you don't need to worry about
Right,
bringing
so
battle
the
foes.
Drukhari you can
It's
have,
all
it's
sort of
going to be
Yes, it is.
like
It
the
does mean that
Imperial
Eldari
Agents, where
Codex
it's
is
like,
a
okay,
chunk. It's a
here
real
are the
chunk, but
Drukhari
it's
you can
all in there in
use.
one place, which is really good to use,
However,
and yeah, be excited about that. That's really cool.
it's only going to be the
all
different
kinds of
versions that
Eldari.
appear
So
in that Eldar
we think maybe
Codex,
might be the best
not
tool
the
out.
actual
There's
Dark
one
Eldar
last
units.
unit of Aspect Warriors we haven't seen in plastic, and here they are. It's the Warp Spiders.
Yeah,
And
so the
it's
Harlequins are
really
not gone
So
and
those
have
guys
their own
basically
detachment.
embody the path to victory through defense.
So,
They're incredibly
yeah,
tough.
there'll be a ranger
Also,
focused one.
They've got a fair bit of shooting and combat in them. However, their main
I don't know if there'll be one focused around
able to jump
the
into
Avatar,
warp very briefly and essentially teleport somewhere else.
That sounds
That's
dangerous.
most of
Yeah,
them.
they can arrive unseen. However, Eldari souls are really in demand by Slanesh, and so to spend any time in the warp whatsoever is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, those warp
Okay.
generators that they carry on their backs give them a rule in the game called Flicker Jump that reflects what you just said. And they can move across the battlefield up to 24 inches, which is monstrous. And
Yeah, they
all
move very
carry
fast.
a Death Spinner, which is basically a souped up flamer. So imagine the utility that has on the game. But of course, if they use that warp generator to do that Flicker Jump, there is, as you mentioned, some risk to the unit. They might not all make it out alive, which is cool. The XR, it's got loads of options here. You can see they've got a Power Blades and the old Death Weavers there. Other options
Looks
include
pretty good.
the Spinneret Rifle and a whole bunch
like
of
the look
power
of him.
blades where you can get up to 10 attacks for your Exarch in combat, which is great, even though they can't charge when they've used Flicker Jump, unless you happen to take what I think is my favourite new miniature of the release.
All
This
right,
is
so
the
that
Warp
lets
Spider
you
Phoenix
flicker
Lord,
jump and then
Lycus.
charge. Okay.
Tell me about Lycus, Alex.
We have waited decades
Really
for
have.
this.
Yeah, we
There
have.
has never been
Lycus,
one
the
before.
Whispering Web is the Phoenix Lords of the Warp Spiders, and basically she's one of the most active of the Phoenix Lords because
She's
they're
one of the most
all
active,
out
but
and
we've
about
never
in the
seen her
galaxy in
before.
various ways, shapes, and forms. However, she spends a huge amount of her time in the warp, incredibly dangerous. That is basically the embodiment of Kalamen Chicane's willingness to do anything to destroy the foe. So she'll appear on battlefields across the galaxy, unasked for, unaided.
Yeah,
and
so
she's
this is
able to
all of
complete
them
a
done
great
at
range
this
of warp
point.
spiders,
We'll have had
slurs
every
through
aspect
everything,
warrior
and they disappear straight back in the warp.
in plastic.
Absolutely
Just not
incredible
quite all of
miniature. I
the
love it bursting
Phoenix
out
Lords
the
in
warp there on the
plastic.
model itself, and
It looks
absolutely
really
monstrous in the
good.
game as well. She carries Weave Render, that's
And it's
her
like a
sword.
web, but it's
It's
popping out of the
terrifying.
warp.
And her
So
rule, if she
that's,
joins those
not an
warp
Exarch,
spiders,
that's
they
a
can use
Phoenix
the Flicker
Lord.
Jump rule and then still charge.
So if you take that Exarch with the extra
Yeah,
attacks,
should be
it's a
leading the
problem.
charge
It's a
on,
real problem.
recovering those
So,
spirit
yeah,
stones
look
from the
out for
Crown
that.
Worlds that
I'm
are in
saying
the warp.
it's
That
a
makes
wonderful
sense. That
miniature.
makes sense.
What a way to end the preview. That's fantastic stuff. Thank you so much
Okay.
for watching. Don't forget, there is loads more information about.
But
all
so
of the
many
stuff we've
detachments is
seen
going to feel
here
like
today
March last
over
year, where it's like
on
every
the
day we're
website.
showing off
Make sure you
something
benefit
new
from
in
some
December.
Extra information as well. Don't forget to follow us on our
Hopefully
social
sometimes it's
media.
like,
We've got
yeah,
them
this
all.
is
We've got
just
Facebook,
Chaos
we've got
Knights doing a
X,
slightly different
Instagram,
Chaos Knight thing.
Threads, YouTube.
So
I think that's all of them there.
anyone that covers
Have
news
all
is
the
going to
latest
be
information,
very
catch up with
happy.
us there. And of course, we've got some stuff coming on Warhammer Plus quite soon.
Oh,
Alex.
right.
Yes, indeed.
They're just
We've
going to
got a
say
whole
Warhammer
new,
Plus.
Slate of shows for seasons coming up.
I thought we'd just get that in there. That's why we're here, you see, really. Thank you all so much, everyone who's behind the
Some
scenes.
things
helping
are coming.
with the stream. Really appreciate that. And if you're there this weekend,
Yeah,
at
7
the
detachments
World
for Eldari
Championships
is really
or the
good.
Grand narrative itself, have a wonderful time. You're there.
Yeah,
now,
old
you're
Big
there
Four
right
as in
now.
from the
How are
first
you
edition.
here? This is
Yes.
crazy. Thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been a wonderful show. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you next time. Happy holidays.
Okay.
Of course, the codex will see every rule for every unit, character, and vehicle.
Just going to go back to some of the Krieg
really
stuff.
Stuff about.
As it said, did it just say every unit that we know?
Of course, the codex will see every rule for every unit, character, and vehicle. We already know some.
Right, so that suggests that nothing from the Imperial Guard is going to Legends, but that is just a single line in a preview. It doesn't mean that everything there has been covered and approved and future-proofed and checked out. It might be that some things disappear, but hopefully not. As long as I still have my infantry, then it's fine. Infantry squads are good. How many detachments are the Imperial Guard getting? It'll tell us in a second.
The tank commanders, for example,
I think it was 5.
Tank commander are separate things now, so they can have their own rules. And the
Oops, say that again.
Commander and a Rogel Dawn tank commander are separate
right,
things
okay.
now, so they can
Rogel
have their
Dawn
own
tank
rules.
commander.
And the
So if you have a
detachments in there,
single
there are 5
Rogel
different
Dawn,
detachments
yeah,
for
5 detachments. So you can have a Rogel Dawn as your tank commander, and then they can order around a bunch of Leman Russes. That would be if you didn't have the little demolisher mortar as a front like gun for your Leman Russ, because anyone who takes a Leman Russ tank commander takes that gun because it's the best gun for pure profile. And when you get no special rule associated with it, you just take whatever is the best gun. Otherwise, I've done a tier list thing of all of the best Leman Russ tanks. And, you know, the Punisher is really quite bad. We don't need lots of anti-infantry firepower in this edition. We need the anti-tank firepower because tanks got good, especially transports. But the Vanquisher, with its single shot, isn't that good. One shot hitting on a 4+ is poor. You might use a command reroll on that, which isn't something you really want to be thinking of. And the points tax for a Leman Russ tank commander just went up. So there's even more.
Militarum, depending on how you want to fight. For a combined arms regiment, you've got a siege.
Okay, so combined arms is what we've already seen. Siege regiment is probably going to be very Krieg themed and be, yeah, the heavy guns.
The mechanized assault for jumping out of tanks.
Mechanized assault for chimeras. That's going to be the Armageddon Steel Legion themed.
Hammer of the Emperor is just all tanks.
All tanks, I suppose, is Talon. They are known for having a lot of tanks, but, you know, any regiment can be lots of tanks. But tanks,
Which has a
good.
really nice stratagem where your tank.
And that's where you have a stratagem so your tanks can move through terrain, which is like what the Crusher Stampede is, where one of your monsters can go through terrain as if it wasn't there, depending on the height of it. They can't just go through any wall. Even though with a tank you should be able to go through any wall. But same for the monsters, but it doesn't quite work like that.
Recon element detachment is basically
a recon detachment. Okay. That could be the Rough Rider themed. It could be the Talon First and Only themed. It could be a lot of your Tanith First and Only theme. So if you want forest warfare.
It's all about your guys being camouflaged and using cover is the best.
Okay. Or more likely Katachan, if it's about camouflage and stuff. Not Praetorians and Mordians then. They won't be using the camouflage.
Ability, which is really great fun. Just any way you want to play Imperial Guard, you've got a choice there.
Okay, I mean, I'll probably want to just stick with combined arms as my way to play. There's no infantry horde, evidently. Siege regiment seems fun. It doesn't seem to be any mention of anyone being Scion themed. Nothing have been like, oh yeah, here's your dudes with the jump packs, unless the Scion detachment is something they get in December. As a, hey, here's your extra detachment.
I really like the siege regiment there, where the stratagem allows you to fire into combat. You might risk your own guys, but it's worth it.
You definitely do
okay,
risk your
so
own guys.
there's
You're absolutely
almost
right.
certainly going to be a 2 command points, fire some sort of gun into your own units. So yeah, siege regiment is Krieg themed. And I suppose Valhallan themed if you're firing into your own guys, because that was always their rule for a lot of the editions. You can shoot into combat against your own people, but you might hurt your own people, but don't worry about it.
The whole army can fire into a combat.
Yeah, so
but the unit,
2
your friendly unit in
command
combat
points.
is back in trouble.
Yeah.
But that's great.
And
Other
then
releases
they
come
may
in
take some more
feature
ones.
alongside the Astra Militarum release. After the army set will include the new Death Korps of Krieg command squads,
Yes.
which is a gorgeous
Okay.
unit as well. Now,
So the command
interesting-
squad is not a commissar, just a fancy dude with a fancy hat. and a medic, and a guy with a melter gun or special weapon. Radio operator, that's the guy on the left with the binoculars, and a flag.
Enough here, you'll notice, folks at home, that that's not an officer leading that command.
Oh no, it's not an officer.
Commissar.
That is a commissar.
And on the left
There's
is a
the
commissar
officer.
Cadet as well. Why
Not an
commissars
officer.
here for the Death
Commissar
Korps?
cadet.
So for most units, a commissar
right.
basically acts as a measure by which morale is kept by everybody does their duty.
So this is actually
however, for the
having
Krieg,
commissars
it's sort of
leading the
opposite way
army.
round. So
They don't
have a
need the
habit
morale
of
boost.
Not necessarily expending their lives needlessly, but perhaps a little bit more.
But commissars and commissar
enthusiastically than
cadets is
other
cool.
regiments. And so the commissars are often there to hold them back.
Yeah,
You've
right. So the
also
commissars
got,
hold back the Krieg rather than
alchemist who
sending them in
allows,
to die.
Basically, the entire unit to resist.
Oh,
toxins,
my.
'cause these are chemical warfare.
Yeah, Colonel
specialists.
Commissars and
Really
such.
is. It's their version of a.
You think
of a
they'll
medic,
remove Miracle
basically,
Dice
that
since
go
they're
there.
taking them
As
away
well as
from
all the veterans
Eldar?
in there, and
No, I
maybe
think
my
they'll
favourite service
probably
dog in Warhammer
keep
40,000,
them for the Battle
service dog.
Sisters if they're changing the Eldar to not have Fate Dice anymore, except in one detachment, which is going to be your Ulthwy themed Seer Council detachment, where they will keep the Fate Dice. And I'm okay with that. I think that'll work quite well.
Pair who are there to keep notes of everything with a little inkwell and pen.
Commissar Lieutenant,
So,
Junior
this is
Officer
a note to
Commissar.
last,
Yeah.
because, he's got the second service
Commissar
on making sure he
Cadet.
never touches the ground.
Super important.
But I thought, surely that's not a
coming
commissar, that's just a
alongside
fancy
is the
hat.
heavy
But no,
weapon squad.
apparently
Of
that's a
course, we've seen
commissar.
the Cadens heavy weapon squad before. This is the Krieg version with slightly different
So
weapons.
Krieg,
actually.
how are they going to
Three
do the different
weapon options
profiles?
here.
Are they
We've got
going to
the
have
twin-linked
one heavy weapons squad like profile? Because these look to be on the 50mm base that the others are on, the regular ones already, the Cadian ones. So you can have, las cannon, heavy stubber, well, twin heavy stubber. So that's going to be it's going to have twin linked and rapid fire. That could be pretty nice, especially if you want to do traitor guard, because they have a lot of heavy stubbers. Just two people with heavy stubbers together, 6-shot strength 4, twin linked. Okay, that can work. If you want to do anti-infantry firepower at range, heavy bolter may not be the best way to do it. This could be. So we already have missile launcher, mortar, las cannon, heavy bolter, autocannon. Now we also have heavy flamer and twin heavy stubbers.
We've got the big old las cannon. You'll have seen those before in
Mhm.
plenty of
Yeah.
different ways. But exciting enough is the huge Krieg heavy flamer.
I would
as
hope
well.
that they get a
Which just
combined
looks
data
great.
sheet.
That's it. You
I don't
really
see any
think of
reason to
having
have
a
them
heavy
separate.
flamer as part of a weapons team like this, but as you can imagine, say you took one in a squad.
But it's
a
nice that they have the
guaranteed
wheels at the
overall
front.
success.
I mean, it took-
So
took
if you
three
have
in
the
squad, that was
Praetorians
if
or
you want to take one out.
Mordians
These
and
are
you want to
range
get back
18,
to the
strength
weedy
5,
heavy
81,
bolters,
damage
you
2
can do
flamers.
so.
Oh, that's absolutely devastating.
Although you
Don't
only
charge
seem to
them
be
when you do.
limited. Damage 2 heavy
Really cool to
flamers.
see
Oh,
those.
damage
And
2
then
heavy flamers? So the Malkador Furnace is damage 2, but this heavy flamer is also damage 2?
These are range 18, strength 5, AP1, damage 2.
Range 18, strength 5, AP -1, damage 2. Uh-huh. Okay. Interesting one. And if you can put them in squads, and they have the same profile as, the same point as anything else, it's like, yeah, would you want a heavy flamer? Do you want a las cannon? Unless they're trying to, separate in points the good ones, which would be the heavy flamer, the twin heavy stubbers, and the las cannon, and then the other ones, which would be the autocannon, heavy bolter, mortar, and missile launcher, and say, yeah, they are not as good, so they don't cost as many points. But it's suggesting that they're going to be in infantry squads. Like, you can take any heavy weapon in an infantry squad. So then the heavy flamer is going to be the best one.
Flamers. Oh, it's absolutely devastating. Don't charge them, whatever you do. Really cool to see those. And there we go. That is all the new models coming for the Death Korps of Krieg, which is exciting. But there's more stuff coming in the festive period.
There is. So throughout December, on the Warhammer community website, there's going to be a series of downloads available, which are detachments for Warhammer 40,000 as some.
Okay, specifically detachments, specifically for Warhammer 40,000. I mean, these might just be very fluffy detachments, like the ones the Imperial Agents got. But we don't know whether Death Watch are going to count as an Imperial Agent or as a Space Marine one. Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure the Heavy Flamers will be able to join a Krieg squad and follow all the current rules to be like, hey, yeah, you get +1 to wound when they're below the certain strength. They did say they're going to maybe change some of the special rules. Or was I thinking of the Eldar? No, I think they said they're going to change some of the special rules for the Imperial Guard. But yeah, having here's your Death Korps of Krieg, and they're very similar to the Cadens and existing stuff. I think they could have maybe done one or the other. But that's going to be a very large-looking roster of Imperial Guard units. They already have loads of stuff, and they're going to get even more. They're just going to look very similar. Not that the Space Marines don't already have that problem, it's just a shame to increase the number of times that problem occurs. So what are we going to see for Gene Stealer Cult if we're getting new detachment? Because there should be a new detachment. Let's see what they say about detachments.
Kind of Grotmas calendar.
Happy Grotmas, everybody. Throughout December, we're releasing 30 different downloads.
30 downloads. Okay. So in terms of factions, we have Battle Sisters, Custodes, Mechanicus, Imperial Guard, Grey Knights, Imperial Agents, Imperial Knights, the Space Marines. Then do you count the sub-factions of Space Marines? Let's just say Adeptus Astartes. We know that there's 4 coming for the Demons. Chaos Knights, Chaos Space Marines, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, World Eaters, Eldar, Dark Eldar, Gene Stealer Cult, Leagues of Votan, Necrons, Orcs, Tau, Tyranids. Yeah, that is 1 for every faction, but 4 for the Demons. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a very busy Christmas. Everyone's going to get something, by the sounds of it. Not bad. Emperor's Children Index getting its own detachment? It doesn't sound like it. They'll just stick with what they've got at the moment. But going off purely mathematics, every faction plus the Demons.
For Warhammer 40,000, all match play legal, all game legal. You can use them wherever you want to at all. And there's some really exciting stuff in there, including the index for the Death Watch is on the way. Death Watch.
So we're calling it Index Death Watch when we already had Index Death Watch. The issue is all of the Index Death Watch stuff, like the special ammunition, has already been thrown into the Imperial Agents Auto Xenos detachment, because you had, well, exactly the same stratagems. There's Armor of Contempt, but now it's for Death Watch units only. There's the special ammunition, and 3 of them, but for Death Watch units only on all their weapons. Not bad. We have the teleport around the board, but now it's done by whatever, done by landers or teleporters. And the final stratagem is being able to choose one of your units to be in a different doctrine. Different doctrines. Okay, so just give me something. Give me something different. But the suggestion is, at this point, you would be able to have Death Watch fielded entirely by themselves. So is that going to be a Space Marine sub-faction? We don't know. But there's something new. It also means that, yeah, we're not going to see the whole Death Watch revamp done as part of the quarterly balance patch. That's just going to be Battle Sisters have their miracle dice changed somehow. Hopefully not just being like, okay, only Army of Faith gets them, like they're doing with Eldar, where Fate dice are only going to be for 1 detachment. Yeah, I might just cut out the whole detachment and slap Space Marine keyword back on. That is one way to do it, but the Death Watch in the Imperial Agents don't have the Adeptus Astartes keyword. So doesn't that suggest that they're not just going to slap Adeptus Astartes back on them? That instead it'll be a certain number of units, Space Marine units, can get the Death Watch keyword and Imperial Agents rule? Maybe. Maybe. Are you listing all of the different armies like I just did? Okay, you put Death Watch separate. Yeah. I mean, yes, I would love to have Gene Stealer Cult with 25% guard. Then that can be the detachment I play a lot. Because I have a Lehman Russ, I have a Chimera, I have heavy weapon teams. They would be fun to play. It's just then what do you do for, like, detachment rule? In terms of theme for the detachments, you could go for more of like, oh, this is the Adeptus Mechanicus style one. Yeah. Interesting. Don't know what they'll add for the Drukhari. It could be that you just pick one of the three and say, yeah, this is the one focused around them. Then are they gonna... Okay, I'm thinking a lot of the codexes we got, especially since, well, after the Necrons, say from the middle of last year, all of the different codexes seem to be missing one of the detachments. Like the Battle Sisters have 4 detachments. We have 6 major orders. Even if you're doubling up, that doesn't seem quite right. It's going to be Bloody Rose, isn't it? They're going to do a Bloody Rose themed one. Ah, of course they are. But that'll be a whole thing of like, okay, let's get into that and test that out. How deep do I go? Do I go 1 hour full analysis deep, or do I do like a 15-minute first thoughts? That'll be an interesting one. Yes is the answer. I need to do a lot of playtesting. Like for the Army of Faith, I just played Army of Faith for several weeks. Then it could work. Bloody Rose is maybe what they'll go for. Or they could do Valorous Heart and do an endurance one. We already have an endurance one because the Army of Faith can be done as a very endurance style. Or you have Hallowed Martyrs. Curious. Okay, you're thinking that Blood Angels... See, Valoran's thinking that like Blood Angels and Dark Angels are their own thing. They're going to get their own extra detachment, which could happen. But that means that some armies are going to miss out. Because the way I counted it, it is every faction plus 3 bonus ones for the demons, which they've already said the demons are going to get it. No, I think the Imperial Agents detachment is going to be the Death Watch only one. And then there'll be a separate one for the Space Marines. But what do you do for Space Marines? We already have all of the major chapters covered. Downloads, not detachments. So there's stuff. You get stuff. Let's see exactly what they said again.
All match play legal, all game different down. Grotmas, everybody. Throughout December, we're releasing 30 different downloads for Warhammer 40,000. All match play legal, all game legal. You can use them wherever you want to. Okay,
match play legal and game legal are 2 different terms because legends are game legal units, as we know for the amount of times I talk about the legends units. But game legal suggests, match play, viable. So that'll be the detachments. Yeah, 30 downloads, not necessarily all the detachments. Yeah, custodians get a 3rd actual detachment. Maybe.
At all. And there's some really exciting stuff in there, including the index for the Death Watch is on the way. Death Watch players will be very happy to see there'll be ways that you can use your kill team.
I think, as always, it's one of those, they've talked a bit, we've made a lot of assumptions, and it'll be, yes, they didn't actually specify 30 new detachments.
Was everybody?
As if we listen again.
A series of downloads available, which are throughout December on the Warhammer community
website. It's a
website.
series of downloads, not a series of detachments.
Which are detachments for Warhammer 40,000.
Okay, now they are saying that.
A series of downloads available, which are detachments for Warhammer 40,000 as some kind of Grotmas calendar.
Happy Grotmas, everybody.
So they are detachments.
Throughout December, we're releasing 30 different downloads for Warhammer 40,000. All match play legal, all game legal. You can use them wherever you want to at all.
Okay.
And there's some really exciting stuff in there, including the index for the Death Watch is on the way. Death Watch players will be very happy to see there'll be ways that you can use your kill teams that you have in their new index coming, and also Chaos Demon players can be excited.
Just ways of using the kill teams. All right. Sure. Yeah. Right. Okay. Can we have kill team specializations? Well, that would be going back to like the Malleus tactics, the Purgatus tactics, which we already have as tactics in the old Death Watch Index and in the Imperial Agents Auto Xenos detachment.
There's 4 detachments coming for them, 1 for each of
right,
the
so
Chaos
4 detachments coming for them, which might all be in 1 download. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Valoran. Yes, multiple detachments in a download. Ooh, okay. So, Space Marines, yeah, I see what you mean. So, 1 Blood Angels 1, 1 Dark Angels 1, 1 Space Wolf 1? Did you include Space Wolves in your list? Yeah, you did. Okay. Right, right. So 30 days of December, and then what? They leave a gap for Christmas Day or not? I mean, I'm really hoping they don't launch on Christmas Day the Battle Sisters detachment, and everyone's like, hey, von Carmian, stop doing the Christian part of Christian von Carmian and get over here and talk about the Battle Sister detachments. Yeah. Yeah, Deathwatch is getting 10 detachments, 1 to fight every Xenos race. Oh, that'd be great. Was it going to be 10? Let's see. Eldar, Dark Eldar, Harlequins, Ynnari, Genestealer Cult, Leagues of Votan, Necrons, Orcs, Savage Orcs, Tau, and Tyranids. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that happening. I'm excited for detachments. I'm also looking at them thinking, oh, how's that going to work? Genestealer Cult, Deathwatch partnering with Tyranids. Well, they've had in the most recent White Dwarf, again, rules on multiplayer, like armies, where it's like a co-op thing, but there's 2 of you, so one's a Genestealer Cult player, one's a Tyranid player, and you play against an enemy. Right, yeah, them getting all the god detachments makes me think the rumors are real. For, like, splitting up the Chaos Demons into the World Eaters plus Chaos Demons, the Thousand Suns plus Tzeentch Demons, then the Death Guard plus Nurgle Demons. Yeah, they're doing the Age of Sigmar route. I think they will. That is what I predict. And then, for now, which is kind of how they've always been, there are Chaos Demons, which are the faction Chaos Demons. However, also, there are Khorne Demons and Tzeentch Demons, and they do their own thing. Yeah, I know I'm coughing a lot. I'm fine. I'm fine. The air is very dry in here. The Greater Demon armies are so cool. Just all Greater Demons.
Powers. What's really nice is that they've been future-proofed too. So we just seen the Astra Militarum is getting a new codex soon.
Gathering Clouds.
Why, thank you, Gathering Clouds, for the new Ko-fi subscription, so that every month you get to... I get support from you. Thank you very much. You are a loyal legionary. That means you also get access to secret chats in the Discord. And can request videos. If you're like, hey, I would love to see a video on this particular detachment that just come out, you can do. Yeah, what about Be'lakor? What's he going to do? So, Be'lakor is either going to be in every single army's codex, which is how Nagash works in Age of Sigmar, where he's in the Vampire Codex, and in the Skeleton Codex, and in the Ghost Codex. Or it's going to be, yeah, we just move him over, and he goes entirely in the Chaos Space Marine Codex, which is where Vashtor already is. So that could be what they do. I've got the, the radiators have come on now, so it's getting warmer when it hasn't been warm all day. I've also been talking non-stop for an hour and a half. That will make you cough a little bit. And I have a mild cold, but I'm fine. I don't need to stop doing videos. I'm fine, I swear. They were going to do that, wouldn't they put him in the codex already? Maybe, but he already has rules in one place. The issue then is, which one is the most up-to-date version, or is it just you can also have Be'lakor? Perhaps you could. Perhaps. Australia, aren't you about to... Oh, you've got like the rains at the moment, and then you're going to enter summer. Yeah, very soon for summer. Weeks away for summer. That's going to be painful. The spiders will all come out. Yeah, so what they'll probably do instead is Be'lakor will be in all of the different army books. That would work. And then he's, an arch manipulator across different sub-factions of the Chaos Space Marines, which are also demons. Legends Be'lakor, not have to think about it. But then who do they Legends him for? Because they won't just have Chaos Demons. It'll be, here's the Legends buddies with the Thousand Suns. Here's his legends, but Chaos Space Marines. So I don't think they'll do that. Right, let's see what else they said.
But their Astra Militarum detachment they're getting during the Grotmus calendar is still legal once that book comes out too.
Right, so their detachment they're going to get for the Astra Militarum, I'm guessing that's going to be the Scions, which will then continue to be legal. We're just going to see a massive increase in the number of detachments. I kind of like how they've done this, where it's okay, everyone gets another detachment, because that's what most people want. Oh, these detachment rules are not that great. Give us a better detachment or another detachment. Or it might just be all meme detachments, we don't know. What are we missing for the orcs for theme? Because we have pretty much everything, don't we? Factions, the orcs. We have the Warhorde, which is Goths. Big Hunt, which is Snakebites. Cult of Speed, which is your Speedy Boys. Dread Mob, which I guess is the golden yellow Suns. Green Tide. Who is the Green Tide most? Okay. Maybe we are missing some stuff. We could do with a stealthy one, an infiltrator themed one. Yeah, the Bad Moons, they need a DACA. Yeah, none of them are like, oh yes, we just go mech. Yeah. Oh yeah, whole competitive meta will be flipped on its head for several months from the detachments. It depends how good they are. They might be very meme-focused detachments, where it's like one specific thing. Then there'll be like some amazing people who do lots of stuff with... I mean, I thought Goths would be more the bully boys, because they also like the super elite ones. Yeah. 33 detachments will explode things anyway. Yeah. There'll be like 4 really good ones that are overpowered, and then they have to rein them in. I think they've maybe caused a lot of problems for themselves. Yes, I encourage meme detachments as well, but I think they've caused a lot of problems for themselves as they now need to balance all of these in future, which they haven't really done for the detachments already. They're just like, oh yeah, they're not great. So unless they're awful... I am also mildly excited. Battle Sister detachment, Death Watch detachment, new Gene Stealer Cult detachment. Alright, okay. Eldari detachment with more Fate Dice, or maybe it'd just be existing Fate Dice go into that one detachment, the Seer Council. Yeah. Then I'm assuming Tempestus Scions as a theme for the Imperial Guard here.
So yeah.
So when you new codex, you can still continue to use these.
Absolutely. That's really cool, isn't it? Right to see. Right. Now we're going to leave Warhammer 40,000. And we're going to head off to the old.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things that's worth pointing out here. First of all, the
okay, I mean, detachments are very interesting.
With a rule called
Eldar detachment might be Rangers or Corsair focused if they don't already have one.
As a Farseer might do, but battle focus instead
too far
teaches you,
ahead for
well,
that.
don't get near him.
Die another one.
The models. So I wonder if there'll be a war host like big box. There could be. Saying Path of the Warrior and then showing a seer. Okay, I mean, that's fine. The Warlocks are a very distinctive model that represents the Eldar. So that's fine. Guardian helmets too. They have the good helmets.
But finally, the entire Eldar are here. And I tell you what, Alex, there is a war host's worth of miniatures coming our way. Let's take a look at what
Valarac says everything. Valarac says that, you know, the Iron Hands Primarch is coming back anytime now.
Beautiful. Tell me and those
so I doubt that there's going to be an Exodite kill
So he's
team.
one of the Phoenix Lords. And these guys were basically the original Exarchs of the Aspect Warriors.
Yeah, Scions had 6 regiments. They were very similar though. But yes, there was their whole
combined spirit of all these
Tempestus
warriors,
Scions book.
And Flagon the Burning Lance. He basically embodies the act of oblivion.
There's going to be a lot of difficult things for...
They all embody a different
well, as soon as we have detachments for everyone, even more detachments. So many detachments to figure out. That's the problem.
Army, there's no more conflict anymore.
Yeah, there's peace.
Great.
Harlequin's detachment is coming. Yes. Yanari detachment is coming.
Devastating melter weapon in the game, pretty much. It's strength 14, damage D6, melter 6. It's just amazing. And his big axe as well, don't get near him.
His axe is still doing axey things.
Just a wonderful miniature and really nice to see. Sculpted banner as well. Oh, yes. I love a sculpted banner. Good to see that.
Oh, you mean it's a sculpted banner, not a little piece of paper that you have to attach yourself?
Fire Dragons. Another new plastic kit.
The Fire Dragons do look very similar to their older metal ones. I also seeing a lot of these little shrine things. You see the little black shrine between the Exarch and the guy on the left? So you get a little shrine marker to be like, hey, yeah, here's representations of the shrine. They don't do anything in game, but I could see that maybe for 11th edition or in this upcoming codex, they all have something that's like, aha, well, now we have a once per game ability and you have a token that represents it.
Construction.
Yeah.
And one of
Let's
their
see what it says about their
little,
detachments.
kind of quirks is that they've got the intuitive ability to understand where to shoot to destroy an enemy war machine or tank, and the Exarch there in the middle. The Exarchs also have some past lives involved in their armor, is able to do that for even tanks he's never seen before.
That's so cool. There's nowhere to shoot it.
Yep.
They're in a soft spot. That's fantastic. The whole unit carries fusion guns,
Yep,
which
we've got the
are
standard fusion
melter weapons
guns.
by another name, really. And if you've ever
Yes,
fought
it's a
against
melter gun.
Eradicators for the Space Marines, these guys
But they're
have a
Melter
similar
3
rule called
rather than
Assured
Melter 2,
Destruction.
unlike other
They can
melter
reroll
weapons.
everything. So they're going to kill what they shoot at.
A lot of
What's
rerolls.
really nice as well is there's a new weapon option for the Fire Dragons. Fire Dragons, they've got flamers. So
Okay.
They can have flamers.
So you can have them with flamers. So if anyone has, say, Eldar Guardians with the Assault Guardians, where they have flamers or melters, well, now you can have just them and throw them in and say, yep, that's a Fire Dragon squad. So getting, say, the Guardian Assault team, Storm Guardians, getting them, because they can have 2 flamers and 2 melter guns in the same unit. It's not like you get 2 special weapons, pick which ones you want. It's both of both. 2 of each, 2 times 2. So you could say, okay, well, I've got those 4 and I've got 6 Fire Dragons. Let's just push them together. And now I've got flamers. Unless it has to be that the whole squad has flamers. Let's see what they say.
Too as well. So don't want to take a fusion gun? Maybe have one there for a...
Yeah, you can mix them. So you can have a flamer and then be like, aha, time to Overwatch. There already was the Dragon's Breath flamer for the Exarch, which was a super special flamer. Or you could have the Fire Pike, which pretty much everyone used. Or you just had the regular fusion gun, which wasn't a great choice.
Maybe persuading your opponent not to come anywhere near you. And the Exarch...
I wonder if there will be a super special like profile on that flamer, or if it'll just be Eldari flamer, but with 1 extra strength. No, that's Battle Sisters. 1 extra AP. No, that's apparently Krieg. 1 extra damage. Ah, nope, that's apparently Krieg as well. Longer range flamers maybe. 18-inch Fire Dragon range. Well, they're already meant to be like very short range, so perhaps not that. But good to know flamers are an option.
You can carry the giant fire pike or even a dragon axe for devastating close combat attacks too. So there's a really nice plastic kit with lots of different options in there. Really nice to see them in plastic. Also coming in plastic, it's more Aspect Warriors. It's the Swooping Hawks. These guys look drastically different, Alex. Tell me.
Would they ever give Shining Spears a Phoenix Lord? Oh, I don't know. I mean, they're just jet bikes with a lance. Then you've also got to think, well, is there a Phoenix Lord of the Flyers? Because there's the, what's they called? Crimson Hunters? Let's have a look. Yeah, Crimson Hunters. Yes, where it's like, oh, it's a fighter, but it's an Exarch thing. It's always, is it always Exarchs in it? Oh, it's just a dude. It doesn't say if it's an Exarch or not. But they are more of a legacy thing from their old, Crimson Hunters. They're a legacy thing from when everyone had to have a flyer. And if you didn't have a flyer, you weren't really a 40k faction. If they're an Aspect Warrior, they have to have a Phoenix Lord. Fair enough. I mean, that makes sense. I just don't think they'll bring one in for them. Like they haven't for the Shadow Spectres. But yeah, where's the Crimson Hunters and the Shining Spears and the Shadow Spectres should all have their own Phoenix Lord somewhere out there.
Me about these.
Yeah, so these guys basically wear incredibly lightweight armor, and you can see with those wings, they're able to take to the air and give that aerial support.
Let's have a look. Do
can
they have a
scan out
4+
little bit,
save?
But what they like to do is they like to go really high up, and so if you're looking up,
Swooping
there's
Hawks.
just this tiny silhouette above you that strikes down and wipes out everything.
That's terrifying. I don't
Yeah,
like it
4+
at all.
save.
They are carrying las blasters, which is a lovely little blast back to the past of Eldari. They shoot 4 strength, 4 shots apiece. They can drop grenades on
they're
people.
saying like, it's a thing of the past. Eldar used to have las guns. It was las guns or shuriken catapults. That was like the option. And then it was, oh no, they all have shuriken catapults. We save the las weapons for the guardsmen, otherwise everything gets a bit too samey. And what do they do now? Well, they have Space Marines who also have the same things as they're saying, yeah, this is exactly the same as how they work with the Eldar and the fire dragons. Melee focus sister detachment, another one, but yeah, not for the... I mean, that's what Bloody Rose probably will be. So it's Penitent Host, but not Penitent Host. Combat, but not through the Penitent stuff. That doesn't leave many units, really. That just leaves the Celestian Sacrosancts as our only close combat unit that isn't Penitent, I think. Yeah.
People as they fly over as well, and the Exarch has a choice of lots of different weapons, including the Sun Pistol and Power Sword, which you can see the model carrying there. They're just a really cool utility unit.
I wonder what other weapons the Exarch can actually have.
It gives them a nice little lovely...
Oh yeah,
dynamism.
Zephram. Zephram's
Really
the combat
beautiful models
weapon.
in that
Combat
iconic
unit, yes.
teal armor color scheme are just great to see. But of course, they also have Phoenix Lord.
It's nice to have the
here he is
plastic
in
spiders
plastic.
and
This
not
is
just
Baharoth.
Yes,
really
Baharoth, the Cry of the
small
Wind.
metal
He trained on Azuman,
spiders
Azuman
that
Phoenix
just
Lords did. He was
turned
the first of
30
their
years
kind.
old. They'll probably be
Baharoth
making a
was
big
the
thing of like,
first to
aha,
basically
well,
master
it's
the
been 30
abilities of aerial
years, but
combat.
here they
That's why it's
are,
got these
they're
big old
back
beautiful
in.
wings on the back there, and he carries a terrifying weapon called the Fury of the Tempest. It's like a super duper Hawk's Talon
It's a
weapon,
special Hawk's Talon,
and he's
yeah.
just devastating.
So
A
that
great
suggests
model
that the
having
Exarch
force
can
to
still
make
have a
sure
Hawk's
Swooping
Talon.
Hawks,
Is there
even
other
more agile, he can
weapon...
help them
Well, it's just,
fly
you
off
can
the
have a
table and
power
come back in
sword,
strategic
just
reserves later
have a
on,
power
which
sword
is
on
lovely.
top of your las
Just a
blaster,
beautiful miniature, and
or you
wonderful
can
on
have
tail
a
as well.
Hawk's
It's worth
Talon.
mentioning that all these Phoenix
And
Lords
most
are
people
both
go for the
devastating
Hawk's
in shooting
Talon,
and
which is
combat.
the
While you
same
might
as a
think
las
this guy's
blaster, but
specialised
one
in-
higher
No,
strength.
they're all just good at everything. But then that's their Eldari,
Strength
right?
5 rather than strength 4
we
is
mentioned him
important.
before. Let's have a look at this. This is Azuman, the Phoenix Lord of the Dire Avengers, and what a miniature that is.
Yeah, I mean, it
He
looks
is
very similar to
absolutely
the old
brilliant.
one.
He was the
but
first of the Phoenix
I
Lords.
can
and
be
basically
okay
mastered
with it. I'm
all
just
of
going to
so
skip
that's the
him though.
natural-
Mentor of the other Phoenix Lords. He's absolutely
he's a good
devastating on the
teacher.
tabletop too. The Bloody Twins, his personal shuriken weapons there, are damage,
Damage
2.
3
And the Sword of Azuman that he
shurikens.
carries
Let's
there
see what
has
he
6
is.
attacks and strength 6, AP 3,
Sermon at
damage
the
3.
moment.
He just cut Terminators in half.
Okay, the
with a
Bloody
single
Twins are
streak.
currently
And
damage
fair, he's
2,
been
so
around
they're
for a
going to
few
go up
hundred
to
years, so he knows
damage
what he's
3.
doing. Just a
And it
wonderful
sounds like
miniature
his
and a
sword
great
will
model
either
table
be
and another
the
skeletal
current
background.
devastating
I'm here for.
wounds
I
with 6
love those
attacks,
banners.
or we can have a
Coming
sweep attack.
alongside these releases is the new Eldari Codex as well, and it's a bit of an overhaul for the Eldari here. Now, we're expecting new rules and detachments and things like
Marathi looks pretty good. I'm not so keen on the feathers in the middle. I'm hoping there's an alternate head. Yeah, you can see that that dead Emperor's Children guy on the bottom right underneath the Phoenix Lord. They're always coming out of a webway gate. People need to stop hanging out near webway gates. Then this wouldn't happen. They would be fine. But they will
First of all,
pry.
the Strands of Fate rule they had before has been replaced.
Harlequin
with a
detachment,
battle focus.
yeah.
Strands of Fate let you use those dice to predict. The
Yeah,
future
they're gonna be
as a
stronger than
Farseer
just
might do, but
a
battle
specialist
focus
lieutenant.
instead, and teaches your force to move more agile.
So battle focus is back as a rule. We've had battle focus a few times before. It's often been you shoot and then you can move a certain number of inches.
Really playing on that Eldari aspect of.
I mean, compared to like the stratagems that they have at the moment, there's Phantasm is move. When is that? End of your opponent's movement phase. Lightning fast reactions, feigned retreat. Fire and fade is what I'm thinking of. Yeah. So you can make a normal move after shooting. It's 2 command points at the moment. That's quite intense. If that was just an army rule. Not even a detachment rule. That's your army rule.
Being super flexible and super fast, which is nice. Don't worry though, Strands of Fate is still around, but only in one of the detachments, the Seer Council detachment.
Okay, so we know there's a Seer Council detachment, which is all 3 themed.
Now, talking of detachments, there are 7 in this book, which is really
right. 7 detachments, good. So we've got the Eldar one,
going
the
from
all 3 one.
War Host, the Wind Rider.
Right, War Host is let me get the list of craft worlds so I can remember them all easily. And by remember them, I of course mean read them. Look at me, I'm a lore YouTuber. Craft worlds, famous. There we are. Right, so 6 major craft worlds. So Alaitok is Beltan is the Sword Wind, so they'll have the War Host, which is kind of what we have at the moment, which is called the Battle Host. I expect that's going to be much the same, but maybe focusing a bit more on Aspect Warriors and not so much the Guardians. Possibly. Oh, there's not 6 big ones. There's 5 big ones. Yeah. Right. Okay. Wind Riders. That's Siam Han. So we're going fast. We're using bikes. We're using shining spears. We're getting around the table. Possibly vehicles.
The host. If you want an army of wraiths, it's there for you.
Yep. The Wraith host is the Yanden. So we've got all 3. We've got Siam Han. We've got Yanden. We've got Beltan. So Alitok.
An army of Harlequins. They're in the book as well, which is nice.
So this should already be a Ranger focused
really
one.
I wanted to point out here is
in
the
there.
diversity of your need. The Yanari units.
Yeah.
Because the Harlequins and the Drakari.
Right. So that means we're going to get something that's going to be, yeah, we have your Rangers focused one, which may also be Corsair focused because they have, Alitok has a lot of the renegades, the outcasts. So having them all come back and be like, hey, we're fighting together, or the craft world, that can work. That's what I expect to see from the Alitok themed one. Right. So we've got those big 5, then we've got the Harlequins, then we've got the Yanari. That matches. So if you're wondering which one hasn't been mentioned, it's Alitok doing a cool outcast version. Yeah, Seer Council is very Ulthway themed. War Host is very much the Baeltan Swordwind. Yeah, so we're also getting Drukhari just in it.
In the book as well, which is nice to see. And the really one I wanted to point out here is the devoted of your need, the Yanari units, because the Harlequins and the Drakari units you can use in the Eldari forces are in the Codex itself.
Okay.
So you've got all the Harlequins, all the Drakari in there, so you don't need to worry about bringing, other battle tomes. It's all solidly in.
It is indeed. It does mean that the Eldari Codex is a hefty tome.
Chunky.
It's a big old chunky tome, but it's all in there in one place, which is really good to use. and yeah, be excited
So
about that.
Drukhari
Really cool.
that you can use in Yanari, it's the Kabbalite stuff, it's the Witcher stuff, it's not the Covens, even though one of them is so very much themed to, yeah, we are the Order of the Phoenix, we believe in death and rebirth, and we are the one coven that's joined Yanari. They're not really included. Because if it's, let's see, Battle Host, Yanari, you can have any Drukhari. Can't have enhancements. Can't also use Phoenix Lords, the Avatar, Solitaire, or Homunculus Covens. Yeah, no Homunculus Covens. Alright. Yeah, so then there'll be a separate thing to keep going with the Drukhari, because they can also have the Corsairs and the Harlequins in the Drukhari army, so there has to be a special rule to allow them. That should still be in there, because you want the traveling Harlequins around. They just won't be unless it goes the other way around. The Harlequins are in the Eldar book. The Harlequins have their own detachment, and in that detachment, you can also take Drukhari stuff. Will characters... Yeah, I don't see there being doubled up, so... Only, yeah, interesting. I don't think they'll be doing double up stuff of like, yeah, you can take people for the Drukhari. So I think what they'll do is say, there is a Harlequin detachment which can also have Drukhari in it. And there is a Yanari detachment which can also have Drukhari in it. However, much like the Imperial Agents, you are limited to just the ones that are in the Codex. Because in the Imperial Agents Codex, you have a Battle Sister squad with a version of it, an Immolator, a Priest, a Grey Knights Terminator squad, but none of these are exactly the same as what you get in the actual Codex Grey Knights in the Codex Battle Sisters. I don't know if you'll see a Farseer running with Kabbalites, but no, because it'll still be like, this is your Farseer, they can join Guardian Defenders and Storm Guardians, and that'll be it. I think that's probably all we'll see. And then it'll be the Yennead Trinity. Well, apart from the big monster fellow, the other two will be able to join Drukhari or Harlequins or a certain number of Eldar units. Because right now, what's her name? Yvraine. Yvraine is spelt with a Y. Why can't I see Yvraine? There she is. Currently, Yvraine can join Storm Guardians, Guardian Defenders, a Harlequin troop, and the 2 types of Corsairs. They can probably add on Drukhari to that. Probably, but only within this codex. When we look at the battle host stuff, your warlord has to be Yvraine. You can include Drukhari. Yeah, then it just seems like Yvraine can't join the Drukhari. So this is a way around that. If you have Drukhari in the codex, then Yvraine can actually join Drukhari units. Yeah. Otherwise, she can only attach to the troop and some Eldar units. The Harlequin detachment gives you 0 Eldar and Drukhari, and then they can work them into an actual Harlequin army. When they were their own army, they were a bit weird because it was like there's 4 units. Then there was 3 ways to play them as like Twilight, Light, and Night, and they had different aspects. Like Light was very quick, Night was very damage focused, Twilight was a bit in the middle. It might be no X. Yeah, so it could be like Imperial Agents where, sure, you can have Drukhari in, say, the Battle Host or in the Seer Council detachment, but they're not going to get anything special. And they will have the Army Special Rule. Ah, will they? No, they won't have the Army Special Rule because that's usually something we see on the index card. Like Kroot Hounds don't have for the greater good. None of the Kroot do. They don't believe in that sort of thing. But then you will need to have, yeah, like Imperial Agents, this is your special, got one, see what it's called? Yeah, faction keywords. So you'll have Drukhari, faction keyword Eldari. That's going to feel kind of weird. Because they have to have that, surely, because they're in the codex. I mean, at the moment, you can do quite a few nasty things by having lots of Drukhari in the Battle Host detachment. Because in the Battle Host detachment, you could use, where is it? Bladestorm. So every time you score a critical wound, improve the AP by 2. Well, if you are the Drukhari and you have the Kabbalite Warriors, they have poisoned attacks on a 4+. So every time, or is it 3+? I think it's 3+. Yeah, so every time they score a critical wound, which is a 3+, then they're going to be hitting with AP -2 or AP like -3 splinter cannons. That's already a combination you can do that's pretty disgusting. So I think that sort of thing may just continue. But only the Drukhari units that are in that Eldari army. No Emperor's Children other than what we got teased last time, which was they're coming in 2025. That was the all of it. That was it. Yeah.
Cool. But that's not all coming for the Eldari. We've saved what we think maybe might be the best till last. Because there's one last unit of Aspect Warriors we haven't seen in plastic. And here they are. It's the Warp Spiders. Alex, who are these guys?
So these guys basically embody the path to victory through defense. They're incredibly tough.
The path
but
to
they're
victory
also,
through
they've got a
defense.
fair bit of shooting and combat in them.
I
However,
would have
their
thought
main
path to
trick
victory through
is with
speed,
those
because that's how
backpacks.
all
They're
of the
able to
Eldar stuff
jump
is.
into the warp very briefly.
They still have the
essentially
flicker jump
teleport
thing. It's
somewhere else.
going to be
That sounds dangerous,
really
man.
quick,
Yeah,
so it's
they
not
can
going to be
arrive
like
on
an
the
uppy downy thing
However,
that, say, the
Eldar
Swooping
results
Hawks
are
have, where you
really
get off the
environmental
battlefield
sluggish.
and come
So
back
just
down.
any time in the warp whatsoever.
It's going to be, yeah, you get to
incredibly
move
dangerous.
24
those warp
inches.
generators that they carry on their backs.
Can't
give them
charge,
a
but
game called
your
Flicker
movement
Jump.
is just
But
24
remember what we
inches.
just said.
The
They
way
can
it
move
works
across
at
the
the
battlefield up
moment,
to 24 inches, which
Warp
is monstrous.
Spiders.
And they all carry a Death Spinner, which is basically a souped-up flamer.
I expect they
Imagine
won't
the
change,
utility that
much
has
as
in
they're
the game.
talking about
But
it
of course,
here.
if they use
I
that
don't
warp
think they're going to
generator do
change
that
their
flicker
army
jump,
special
there is,
rule,
as you
unit
mentioned,
special rule at
some
all.
risk to the
In the
unit.
movement
It might
phase,
not all make it
instead
out
of making a
alive,
normal
which is cool.
move,
The
you
X-Ar's
flicker
got
jump,
loads of options here. You
it
can see they've got
moves
power
24
blades
inches.
and the old death cleavers there.
Doesn't
Other
have
options
fly?
includes the spinneret rifle and
I mean,
a
I'd
whole
I'd
bunch
assume
of
you want to
power
give them
blades where you
fly.
can get up to 10 attacks.
They
for
can
X-Ar's
still be
in
move
combat,
blocked that
which is
way
great,
if they don't have
even though
fly.
they can't charge when they've used flicker
Okay.
jump, unless
But you must roll a
happen to take what I
d6
think is my
when you
favourite
end the
miniature
move on a
of the
1.
release.
This unit
This
suffers 1
is the
mortal
Warp
wound, which is
Spider
enough to
Phoenix
kill
Lord.
1 warp spider or
Lycus.
injure the Exarch.
Tell me about Lycus.
I would probably
We
just
have
injure the
waited
Exarch.
decades
Really
for
have.
this.
The
Yeah, we have.
Exarch
So Lycus, the
has,
Whispering
you can have an
Web
extra
is
Death
the
Spinner,
Phoenix Lords
so it
of
may
the
just be
Warp
worth.
Spiders,
Yeah.
and basically,
would lose
she's
one
one of the
warp
most
spider instead.
active of the Phoenix Lords because they've
And you're not eligible to charge
about in the
after making a
galaxy in
flicker
various
jump.
ways, shapes, and
However,
forms. However,
this
she
particular
spends a huge amount of her time in the warp.
Phoenix Lord
incredibly
lets you
dangerous.
bypass
That is basically
that, and
the
you
embodiment
can get into
of,
combat.
Calum and Chicane's willingness to do anything to
It's just the
destroy
scale
the
that's
foe.
really annoying. I
So
mean,
she'll
yeah, the
appear on
models are
battlefields
great.
across the galaxy.
There's no real reason to change
asked
the
for
models.
or unaided. And
They
as you
just
said,
maybe
with the
want a
company,
little bit of a scale
great range
update.
of warp
Same for
spiders
like the
to
Space Marine
slaughter
Tactical
everything,
Squad.
and they disappear
Really
straight
good
back
looking
in the warp.
models.
Absolutely
They
incredible
do what they
miniatures. I
should
love her
do.
bursting out
They
of the
just
warp
look
there
a
and
bit
all
small
itself,
compared to the
absolutely
newer
monstrous in the
Primera
game
stuff.
as well. She carries weave
It
render.
is
That's
really
her
cool.
sword.
She looks very
It's
awesome.
terrifying.
Does she have? Yeah, she got the 8 legs. 2 normal arms. She's got the 2 death spinners, which you assume are death spinners coming over the top. 2 other guns, which are, I don't know, shuriken weapons or extra. Then look like guns rather than knives. The tiny shovel she has. She's taken after the Krieg, covered herself in black, and then she's gone for the shovels. And then legs. Yeah. Nice looking sword.
And her rule, if she joins as warp spiders, they can use the flicker jump rule and then still charge.
So they
If you
can
take that Exarch with the
yeah,
extra
Black
attacks,
Widow.
It's a problem. It's a real problem. So yeah, look out.
Yeah,
for
that's
her
the
coming
look,
soon.
very much.
It's
So
a
that's why they've gone
wonderful
for
miniature.
she's a woman,
That's
she's a Black Widow.
fantastic
I
stuff.
get it,
Thank you
I
so
get
much
it.
for watching.
Yeah.
Don't forget, there is loads more information
Good
about
Phoenix
all of the
Lord.
stuff we've seen here today over on the Warhammer Community website. Make sure you go there for extra pictures, extra information as well. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. See if I can remember them all. We've got Facebook, we've got X, Instagram, Threads, YouTube. I think
Oh,
that's
they're
all
on
in
Threads
there.
now.
For all the latest
Are they
information,
not on
catch
Blue
up with us
Sky?
there. And of course, we've got some stuff coming on Warhammer.
Because I'm on
Plus
Twitter
cartoons.
and also
Yes,
on Blue
indeed.
Sky,
We've got
because
a
everyone
whole
has to be on
new,
Blue Sky as well, because it seems like it's a
shows,
social media
seasons
platform that's
coming up.
taking off.
Cool, let's get that in there. That's why we're
All
here,
I do is
really.
post that,
Thank you
yeah,
all so much,
I've
everyone
got a
who's
new
behind the
video
scenes
out.
helping with the stream.
That's it.
Really appreciate that. And if you're there this weekend at the World Championships or the Grand Narrative,
And there's an
itself,
event
have
currently
a
going on.
wonderful
Oh yeah, they've got
time.
the
You're-
Grand
you're there
Narrative stuff
now.
going on,
You're there right
where
now.
they've shown off
How's
some
it
of the
even here?
scenarios.
This is crazy.
Like there's a
Thank
line
you so much
breaker
for joining us, man. It's
scenario
been a wonderful
where you
show.
get victory
Thank you,
points
guys. We'll see
only
you next
based
time.
on the number of
Happy holidays.
units that are in the enemy's deployment zone. That's an interesting way of doing it. That's a good one-off mission. So if you want to try that, I think I may be able to put it as a link in the chat. Did they have it here? That looks like the combat stuff. Grand Narrative. So this seems to be an update. So you've got orcs, people dressed up as orcs. Yeah, I'll put the link to the scenario in the side of the chat. So if you want to do the chat, want to do that mission, there is that mission. An opening that does indeed get you to the line breaker offensive. Good, that works. I can pin the message. Okay, I'll pin the message for now. Out of the warp plastic thing will be super flimsy and break apart. I don't know. They seem to be pretty good for like the Void Dragon that has very similar things, and that's a much bigger model that they're trying to hold up. It should be alright. Yeah, very similar to the Drazza model. It looks bigger though. She looks to be on a bigger base, probably a 40mm base, whereas I'm pretty sure Drazza's on a 32mm base. At least, that's what they come with. If you want to have a bigger base, just have a bigger base. Whatever suits you. Yes, a thin Eldar spade rather than a bigger spade. Oh, I do remember the diggers. I was like, White Dwarf 217 was the diggers. And now we're on White Dwarf like 504. So, it's only like 260 months ago. That doesn't sound as long as like, yeah, that was 25 years ago. We'll stick with 260 months. Months are just so rapid. They go by like nothing. So I'm looking forward to the detachments. What do I think what we're going to get for Battle Sisters? Probably something combat focused. I don't know. We could do a tank focus. We already have a transport focused attachment though. I don't think we need anything like that. We already have a generic one for shooting. We already have a good one for coming back to life and shooting people when we're dying. Hallowed Martyrs is pretty good still. It's still a good detachment. I just think everyone's played it enough. it's nice to see more detachments now that we are over halfway through the edition. They have confirmed recently in a White Dwarf that, yeah, we are halfway through the edition of 10th edition. It's reached middle age. So we're coming back down. It's crazy stuff. Theory crafting every possible detachment. No, I think I'm fine. I think I'll stick with continuing with what I was already planning to do. And considering my video on the shooting phase has done so well, I think a follow-up to that is needed. Don't know if it'll be out by Sunday. Don't know if it'll be out by Monday. Maybe more likely Monday. Maybe. I'm still doing the scripting bit. Thank you, Sam Hill. Thank you. I mean, the detachment's for everything, though. So there's all sorts of themes that they haven't explored in some way. I mean, I wonder what the Grey Knights are going to get, because they could get a very interesting detachment. Or they could just keep teleporting around. Yeah, I mean, even the Battle Sisters have... There's a lot of detachments that are like, it's your army rule, but better. But we have the Army of Faith for the Battle Sisters. For Genestealer Cult, we have the Ascension Day, which is, oh yes, everyone's deep striking, but more? Or you have, I guess, the Xenocreed Detachment, which is, ah yes, you come back as blips. But sometimes, occasionally, your battle line troopers can do that better. Perhaps. And then Imperial Agents will just get the Death Watch. And it'll be one detachment and that'll be it. I hope that, yeah, it is Christmas Day that they skip. But we'll see. I mean, they often do a reveal of, like, the next box on Christmas Day. So they may say... Because last Christmas they had, like, ah yes, the Dark Angel stuff is coming. You got to get in and know about the Dark Angels. So this time they may do, ah, well, here is what the new Battle Host box will look like. And they'll show off the Eldar Battle Host. The stuff we've seen already. This... whatever this is. Let's see if I can find the looking of it. Where they're like, oh, yeah. Yeah. It'll be like, here's all of this in one go. So there's your Phoenix Lord. It's maybe a little loud.
Well, F. Gottric's companion.
3 Phoenix Lords? 4 Phoenix Lords? 1, 2, 3... Yeah, we've got 4 Phoenix Lords in this box. So they'll probably just do a battle host or an aspect warrior host that is just all the new stuff. And then people will buy that. It'll just be this. As a box. Announced on Christmas Day. And I don't know what else. No, probably nothing else. Hopefully nothing else. That's enough. That's probably enough things. I'm not super keen on those helmetless heads for the fire dragons. They look like Space Marine heads. When you think of like the Phobos Marines that have the front grille and they don't have anything on top, like the snipers, the Eliminator snipers, that looks exactly like these heads. And now we have the weird thing of, yeah, the Eradicators with their melter weapons in the Space Marine Gravis armor are very much based on the Fire Dragons. Now the Fire Dragons are looking more Space Marine. It's not so great. I'm not keen on that. Oh, Draz is on a 40mm base. I see. Yeah, Brady on the fight phase has so much to cover. Yeah, but I don't know if there's anything like weird situations. I know what I'm going to talk about. I know what I'm going to do. It's already half written. And there's far more than I expected there to be. I was like, okay, I've got like these 3 points. I might manage to do like a 7-minute video, a 9-minute video, something like that. No, it's looking like another 20-minute video again. You think the shooting video was really good? Excellent. Excellent. I'm glad it's useful not just for like new people to say, oh my, I am just learning how it works. And it's good to see all of the crazy situations. We're also getting people who go to tournaments and are veterans know what they're doing. Ah, right, helmetless heads for the Yanari, because Yanari don't like wearing the helmets, and they're like, ah, yes, we are not putting on our helmet to represent us being like, ah, we're going off to war, and so anything we do with the helmet on Doesn't matter. We can see horrors beyond the warp, and it's not going to phase us because that's what we do with our war face on. And then we take off the war helmet, and it's fine. The new Eldar Guardian, well, new, they've been out a few years. Eldar Guardians that are Guardian Defenders, Storm Guardians, a lot of them have a bare head. The new Warlocks also have a bare head. So it is a thought that, yeah, you just have it as if they're helmetless, they're with Ynnari, and that can work. I mean, we're seeing there a squad of 10 fire... Well, it's probably meant to be 2 squads of 5 fire dragons, each one with an Exarch, showing you, yeah, here's 4 helmetless heads. 5 helmetless heads, yeah, so you get 5 helmetless heads and 5 helmeted heads. I think the elves should be putting their helmets on. I don't think the Ynnari, like, plotline is going to go anywhere soon. For the most part, they seem to have paused all of the plots. So, yeah, we're doing things a bit more in the Pariah Nexus, sort of, where there's been a Necron Civil War, which doesn't have a conclusion yet. There's been, yes, the Octarius War ended for the Tyranids, but there's no follow-up on that. They're just in this circle of, like, dead planets, and they can't go anywhere. Unless they try and reach out beyond the dead worlds into the Imperium. Same for, like, the 4th Tyrannic War. Okay, that surprised us, but it's Hive Fleet Leviathan again. So let's do, is it the Gladius Protocol, where they go in and attack the worlds that are being devoured and kill the feeder beasts and blow up the tentacles and the digestion pools and make it pointless for them. And then, yeah, we're fighting the next planet, so we need to blow up the planet after the Tyranids have finished their invasion so that we win, sort of. Or we can force a draw. We can always force a draw with the Tyranids. We lose a planet, but they don't gain a planet. And then the Ynnari have just been, yep, we have Ynnari. That was the whole thing. At the end of 7th edition, we had the release of Death Mask, where we had the Death Watch fighting Harlequins. That was very fun. But then nothing has gone beyond that for the Ynnari. Like, oh yeah, okay. Beltan craft world's in pieces. Fundamentally, it's fine. It still functions as a craft world. I don't know if there'll be any new lore in the Eldari Codex. That would be nice. Put a helmet on your brain. That could be good. But the Ynnari haven't done anything else. They haven't got the homunculus covens on their side. They haven't fixed death. They're still a dying race. Fundamentally, they haven't changed what they are. Eldari are still Eldari, same as Eldari were before. There was a very long time when nothing happened in the plot. From like 2003, we had the Eye of Terror campaign, and then not until 2017 did we get a follow-up, which was, okay, Abaddon is on the planet, gets off the planet, throws a Blackstone Fortress at Cadia, Cadia goes boom, and then, yeah, well, I mean, it's continuing. The 13th Black Crusade is continuing. It's just now got stuck again at Vigilus, which is only, like, the next stop down the road. You haven't even gone one motorway service station along. It's at the next junction, and already you're like, oh, well, this is where we are now. We're fighting on Vigilus, and somehow the Imperiums are holding. All of the people there are not doing great, but they have a Gene Stealer Curl uprising, they have Dark Eldar at the poles abducting people, they've got Space Marines coming in, Manius Calgar got punched, and then went into Primaris armor and gave up on his Terminator armor and got Gravis armor, and then he appeared in Space Marine 2, which is against the Tyranids, so he was like, oh yeah, I'm not going back to Abaddon for round 2, nuh-uh, no way. Wonder how nerfed the Avatar and the Death Avatar is. What's that called? The Yin Khan. I don't know if they'll change it that much. I mean, it's powerful at the moment. They're both very powerful. Did they change the Yin Khan to have him fixed? The Avatar is okay in game. The Avatar is strong, which is what you should expect from an actual representation of a god. It should be on Greater Demon level. Yeah. Ynnari have fixed death. They respawn like the Eldars used to. Okay. I see. Oh yeah, they can come back to life, basically. But only when people near them die. It's like kill things to like fuel it. It's very similar to the Dark Eldar. I can see, yes, why the Dark Eldar like it. Because there was a short story of a Ynnari fellow who was captured by the super creepy torturer Dark Eldar man. Special character in the Homunculus Covens. Urian Rakarth. That fellow. And he just he was counting how many times he could kill a Ynnari and bring them back to life, and at what point that stops. And it just didn't seem to stop. So, yeah. That's good, you know. We have conquered death. We don't need the Spirit Stones. However, we'll just keep the Spirit Stones on us, you know, aesthetic reasons. If nothing else. It should work. You don't really like the Death Korps of Krieg since they look like kids' toys? Well, my problem with the Death Korps of Krieg is, yes, I mean, you absolutely can just make that out of any World War II kit. And I think I've done that before. Like a Flak 88 or Flak 44. One of the Flak cannons just pointed at the sky, and there you go. I have that now. On whatever size base it's meant to be. The cavalry are okay. I've always thought they were meant to be like assault shock cavalry rather than doing it all mounted infantry. Flying along, shooting, falling back. They have AP -1 on their cavalry feats. They're meant to be in combat. They have lancers to get into combat. I know it's just not explosion lancers. The artwork is nice looking. That's artwork we've seen many, many times before. Yeah, but that's new artwork. Showing them going over top. So that may just be like the cover piece for what is the Siege Regiment. Oh, I desperately want to see Vect back. Maybe he can be on his weird boat. I don't see why he shouldn't be on his weird boat. That'd just be good. They might just skip out on the naked people that were chained up to the boat. Yeah. Avatar of Cain is super strong, near Angron levels, and with fate dice, yes. That's what everyone uses the fate dice for, the Overwatch. You have a Farseer follow around the Avatar, and then when you use a fate dice, it changes to a fate dice of a 6, and suddenly, yep, your Avatar has hit on Overwatch with sustained hits. Every time. They do it every time. Yeah, the Dais of Ascension. Absolutely. So they should bring him back. I mean, that'd be great. Here's the one new model for Drukhari. It's Vect. He's back. He's doing stuff. Can't just have the pleasure barges. Unless you wanted to make it like a lot of kits are where they make 2 different units. So it could be Vect or it can be a sex boat. It's one or the other. Depends how you want to field your Drukhari. Or if you just want your Drukhari to be in the Eldar Codex, which they are. But not necessarily all the units, so we maybe won't see, like, witches. Well, we know we're not going to see any of the Coven stuff. But no Draza, no Lilith, of course. But Archon, Succubus, possibly? Or are we going to skip characters? And they'll just have Cabalite Warriors, Witches, Raiders and Venoms, but then specifying that, yeah, this Raider can only transport Cabalite Warriors. We're not going to have a mix like you could in Ynnari in the past, where you could have Aspect Warriors riding in a Venom, because Fire Dragons in a Venom were pretty good. Court of the Archon, are they still selling the Court of the Archon? Or have they gone to, essentially, going to go to Legends? They might be. So there'll be no Kronos, no Grotesques. Hellions will probably be there. I think we have Ynnari Incubi. I'm pretty sure Ynnari Incubi exist. Mandrakes might get skipped, as well as, like, the Fighters, the Razorwing jet bikes. Ravagers should be there. Scourgers should be there, even though we have Swooping Hawks. And the Reaver jet bike should be here, even though we have Reaver Guardian jet bikes already. Slightly different. They're slightly different. Oh yeah, Drukhari Baneblade that flies. They never really do heavy armor. They do have big things. Well, one big thing. They have the Tantalus in Forge World. That's a big thing. Firing deck 16. And it flies over stuff and cuts them. Does some mortal wounds. Strength 8, damage 2 in combat. But it's not got many attacks. It's not designed to be in combat. It's got a gun. It's got loads of disintegrator cannons. And about 18 wounds. It's still a pretty light vehicle. It's 200 and something points. I mean, the orcs have the Squiggoth. How many kinds of Squiggoth have you got? Is regular Squiggoth still around? Regular Squiggoth. Gargantuan Squiggoth is still around. Then it's the base Squiggoth that is the Legends one. Okay. I can get behind that. Yeah, 18 wounds for the Legends Squiggoth. So you're seeing the lighter version. The Gargantuan Squiggoth has 30 wounds. So the lighter version of a Squiggoth is the heavy version of the Dark Eldar. So yeah, they don't really do the heavy stuff. But they can. There's mortals on the charge, and then there's tank shock. Yes. I mean, it's not got the highest toughness. Toughness 10. So you're averaging 4 mortal wounds? No, 2. Yeah, 3 mortal wounds, maybe 4 mortal wounds from that tank shock. Okay. I mean, any kind of tank is going to be better. A lot of tanks are more than toughness 10. Yes, big guns. Oh yeah, then pull out Vicious Blades in the scary the transport detachment, the Sky Splinter Assault detachment. Then you have stratagems. Yeah, Vicious Blades. After your transport is fought, select an enemy unit that was the target of that, and roll a d6 for every model inside. Oh yeah, because it's got 18 models inside. At least. And then it gets more mortal wounds. Alright, yeah, I can see that being painful. What is its transport capacity? It is 16. You can do a lot of damage with that. But it needs stratagems to do that extra damage, and it does seem like it's made of paper. Fundamentally, it's made of paper. Okay, right. I think that's going to be enough for a live stream. We've gone through the prelude to the preview. We've gone through the whole preview itself. We've talked a lot about the detachments that are coming in December. So I've got to see how many videos I can get out before then. Because, you know, 1st of December might be, hey, here's the Death Watch right away. That could happen. And I've got to be there for it. Sort of. We'll have to see, you know, first thoughts on the detachment, then we'll follow up with a bigger video once I've play tested it enough times. Yes, we know all the Krieg stuff. We're getting Krieg, which is more Imperial Guard stuff, and it sounds like none of the things are going to Legends, which is nice. But they are doubling up on a lot of things. Here's your Krieg command squad, here's your Cadian command squad, here's your regular command squad. Although the Krieg command squad is a Commissar command squad instead. Fair enough. And we know that the Eldar are going to get some new stuff. Eventually. Eventually. Not right now. But soon. And it'll look good when it comes out. You've ordered the Sisters of Battle Christmas box. Do I think it's a good box? I think it's a very decent box. Because you get rhinos, you get your penitent stuff, and if you're going to play Penitent Host, it's absolutely wonderful. Otherwise, it's kind of okay. A lot of Arcoflagellants are appearing... Well, it's either Arcoflagellants or Repentia in a lot of boxes. So to see both at once... Okay, that's fine. Oh, if you don't have much sister stuff, then yeah, it's great. And what you tend to get is like, here's the boarding patrol or the past things where it's like, yeah, it's the core of the sisters with none of the penitent units, so having all the penitent units extra is going to be great. Great to see you, Zerota. Great to see all of you. I'm going to end it there. You can all have a great day of 40k.